Right now, I'm just building my landing page agency or whatever you can call it. But
Okay.
yeah, I got an interesting story. So past 10 years, I've been working in academia, in research, biggest research organization in Australia. And in the last 5 years of those, I've been coding in C++ and Python, developing algorithms to process data that
Okay.
comes from the boreholes and stuff.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, so technically I have some skills, but right now I'm just learning a lot about marketing, sales, customer conversations, all this shit that we need to do.
But what made you
Apart from
choose landing pages? Like, why did
uh,
you welcome Kyrie? We'll hear Roman's project and then we'll open it up. But yeah, so what made you choose landing pages?
landing pages, because like I have a couple of side projects as well, the websites in WordPress, but I hate WordPress. But landing pages is something that's sort of relatable. I like copywriting. I'm interested in this. I read a lot about it, and yeah, it's I think the quintessential union of all the marketing skills, like
And you have
copywriting,
experience with it?
understanding
Like,
the buyer psychology. Yeah, I'm just learning it right now while helping people. But
but that's very interesting choice, right? Because you said you were doing like C++ for a while, and then you were like, I need to make money. Let's do landing pages instead of like C++ consulting or
yeah, the thing
what
is
made
like
you, yeah.
I quit my job in academia, and the problem is like I cannot use any of those products that I developed there. It's the whole IP belongs to the company. I cannot consult on the stuff I developed there. So right now I'm just taking a break from academia, and eventually I want to launch some SaaS applications. So right now, and I'm also torn between like, do I want to be a technical founder, or do I want to be a sort of CEO kind of founder downstream, because both things are quite interesting and relatable to me. But right now I'm just learning all things marketing.
I love it. So you're just like throwing yourself in the deep end. You're like, hey, if you
Yeah,
sell
the
landing
best
pages,
way to
yeah,
learn something.
uh,
Yeah.
that's awesome. So what's like your next three steps? Like, what are you trying to figure out right now?
uh, Right now, like I have a couple of ideas, SaaS ideas. One around like content management system, but I'm almost about to ditch it because like I'm involved in writing kind of circle where
Mm.
copywriting guys are hanging around. And talking to them, I realized it's like either too complicated or very difficult to sort of find a specific problem, because it's very sort of non-linear process, and you all understand this, right? When you
Mhm.
write something, you ideate, then you write something, then you store it in some content management system, and there are like plenty of available softwares already. Um, the For me, like I see the problem is when you jump between all these like softwares is where you lose a lot of time. But it's not the problem that you can potentially solve, because every like digital writer is sort of different in the way they approach things. It's either you have to look for a very specific niche, say, I don't know, medical ghostwriting or whatever, to solve their problem end to end, or you have to develop another like atomic SaaS to solve, ideation phase for content creation or something like that.
And
And
what do you lean towards? Like, do you have a preference? Do you want to hit this problem or like because you feel like you
uh,
had an idea, but then you kind of got discouraged by some people who are like, "Oh, bro, you can't do it," and that kind of.
No, I'm not discouraged. I'm asking for their feedback, what problems they have, and they don't seem to be having problems. So they like some people use Notion to store their content. Some people use, Google Sheets. I personally use like random stuff, sometimes just scribbling on my notebook some ideas. So, and I don't see even the specific problem for myself, and that's why I'm sort of,
Mm.
not. not want to
So,
dive into that.
so what's your plan for your landing page thing? Like, how, do you have an idea of how you want to grow that, or how you want to acquire customers for that, or what's going on there?
For landing pages, right now I'm just building case studies, so I'm helping a lady in e-commerce space to upgrade her sort of um, her landing pages and cart pages and all that. Just complimentary, you know. And
Nice,
the other guy, I think he's from BIP community, so he reached out to me asking for help. And I said like I can do this for you for free. And he said, oh, I'll probably tip you at the end if you do a good job for me.
nice,
And I
yeah.
said, okay. Yeah, and idea is right now to build this like portfolio and then, you know, try to do more outbound kind of um, do more outreach, DM people, and maybe I'm planning to run ads as well,
That's
like Google
interesting. Yeah.
search
So,
ads.
so you have this kind of idea, like SaaS idea you want to build, but also you're working on this landing page thing. Like, is there like any challenges you're facing right now? Like, what is your biggest frustration that, maybe we can help you brainstorm solutions?
Uh, Not right now.
Nothing. You're
Just
just like,
figure
hey,
it.
you you got the case
Y-
studies, and
Yeah,
then
because I got all the tools and I sort of know what I want to do. It's just a matter of building, you know, this Framer muscle, whatever, Figma muscle.
mm,
Just just learning the tools a little bit better so I can make it like
yeah,
more straightforward,
it's an interesting
linear
problem, right?
process.
Because like, I kind of feel bad a little bit because you're like, hey, I've been working, my life in academia, building products in C++, plus plus, and this is kind of where you built all the expertise. But then you signed this contract, like a non-compete or whatever. And is there an expiration date for the non-compete?
No, it's like when you work for this research organization, they hold all the IP, so all the things I developed, they are patented. And there's no way sort of around it. The only thing I could have done, I could stay there longer and spin off a company or something like that, but I just didn't want to stay there longer. That's
But what
that's
about your like? You can't talk about C++, plus plus, like you can't consult
no, I can talk
around the
about C++,
ideas.
but I cannot like use the ideas that I used to develop the software
Can you
within
talk
the
about
organization.
like, hey, I built these? Like, can you say that you built them?
Oh yeah, this I can because I published papers in like industry journals and stuff. So
So why are you
I
like
can.
starting from scratch? Like, I feel like you've done all of this work to build this kind of expertise and skill set, and now you're like, no,
Uh,
I'm not going to use any of it. I'm going to try to be a landing page designer or
yeah, yeah, yeah.
developer, and then maybe I also want to help with CMS. And it's like the story is not making sense. Like, what's you know what I mean?
The,
Like,
the
there's
the market is quite small because I was developing a very specific algorithm like a clustering algorithm using expectation maximization algorithm if someone's familiar with that. Uh, uh, and it's like very niche topic. Only like I don't know 50 people know how to like use this stuff. So it's not really something that I can consult and have a bunch of clients
well,
in that space.
let's open it up to the community. I want to hear what people have to say.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna kind of repitch. Welcome everybody though. Alex, David, Kyrie, Luke, first time Templeton guy, Tully. Thank you so much for joining everybody. Arthur, my man. But yeah, Roman, very bright guy. Very fun follow too. He's very good energy online. But he's been developing some specific niche algorithm in C++. Is it like machine learning, Roman? Is it
Yeah, it's
like
sort of
clustering algorithm? Yeah.
basic machine learning. It's not like neural networks, not like, you know, LLMs. It's fairly basic, but heavy on stats and statistical learning kind of
Yeah, so
algorithms.
you've demonstrated that skill set where like you can work in a research team and produce an algorithm and get a patent and all of that, and then kind of got bored with working maybe at that company or something and left. And now he's like decided to start from scratch, where he's doing landing pages, but he's also thinking about, you know, doing a like a Notion competitor or like some sort of CMS competitor. So, what are you guys' thoughts on Roman's story? And anybody can unmute themselves.
I can always
Yeah,
talk if you want. Oh,
My
sorry.
man.
Yeah,
sorry.
Arthur,
Hell
go
yeah.
ahead.
Arthur, yeah.
So, hey guys. I used to program a lot in C++, and I really understand that at some point you want to move more towards a full product focus because
Arthur, you cut off a little bit.
working in C++ and building, let's say, my computer is lagging like crazy.
Yeah.
Zoom for you. Do
Yeah,
you hear me?
it's you just were lagging a little bit. Can you repeat what you said? So you said
Yeah.
you
So
started with the C++, yeah.
yeah, I did a lot of C++. Well, probably not as much as Roman, but it's just two different worlds to build. Let's say a SaaS in whatever technology, and working on like deep algorithms, deep algorithmic stuff in C++. And I understand if at some point you just want to change, and I think it's fine to hop to something else, and you shouldn't. I think you're right to not limit yourself to your original area of expertise, and it's good to have a broader view and experience. So I think it's actually a good move to do something completely different.
I like it, Arthur. So like is it like so hard to sell yourself once you're in like a very, technical field like that? Like is that what you've been discovering with your like journey? Oh, wait a minute. Arthur, can you unmute yourself?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
Is it like hard for you to find like once you're in a super specialized field, like is it so hard to
Mm,
find like work after that,
I
or
don't know. I've never been a specialist,
yeah.
so I've always hopped from technology to domains, and so I've never been there. So I don't think so, but I think you
Okay.
can be. I think you can be bored. Let's say,
No, I like your idea. You're like, hey, you can start from scratch. That's fine. I understand it. David, what do you got to say?
Well, haven't gotten much of the details, so I don't know the exact details. I just have like a
Yeah,
more
I'll
generic.
I'll give you a recap. So he spent some year in academia and like with a research group developing like patents for like a clustering algorithm, to do with machine learning and stuff.
Yeah,
So
but you gave the recap, right? So I
yeah.
think I was there. So
Oh,
it,
okay.
it was more like um it's not like exact details of what I would need to like if someone would approach me in the sense of hey, does it make sense to switch jobs? But I have a more like high level view on that, and I think I said that before. Which is yeah, I think I said this in the first meeting which I joined here. Like if you're convinced of something, then it's gonna be successful. Um, I just like also few weeks ago talked to a girl who was doing like actual like real world flower stuff, right?
Mhm.
So she's selling flowers. Everybody can sell flowers. Like what's that kind of fucking business, right? But she made it unique. She made it her own. She basically gave the flowers a style, a certain like I would go to say impersonated, not impersonate. When basically the flowers impersonate a character somewhat. What
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say is like she was so convinced of the idea of selling flowers and now has like for I don't know Olympic Games or whatever. I don't know, but basically she's successful.
Very cool. Yeah, she made it. She was the convinced, like she was so committed and convinced that she can make it work, and had like a style to it
Right.
that.
And here's something she said. Here's something she said which stuck to me. She said, if you're so convinced, it's less the fact that there was a market. That's part of it. There's always a market. It's more like the way you sell it and the way you are reaching people is infectious. That's what she said. So being active and showing yourself out there, which I hated as well. I hate marketing. I still do it. Is infectious because you're convinced of something. So this is something that I like to say on a more high level, because if you feel like you're like something's dragging you into a topic, into a different topic, try it out. And see if it keeps you going, or if you get bored too easy. There's a lot of things where you'll get bored. Same for me. And these are the things that I don't follow. There's one thing, for example, Said knows, like I never get bored of super bass. So so that's the thing I follow.
Yeah, I love your message, and that's what worried me about Roman, right? Because you're saying if you have conviction in a certain direction, and you're in love with that direction, right? And you kind of demonstrate that love, and put your effort in it and make it unique and make it yours. There's an infectious quality to that, and that can create markets. You don't even need to find a market, right? And when I hear Roman's story, it is not that. There's no conviction. It sounds like he left this job and then it's like, I don't know what to do. And he's just like putzing around. He didn't choose something and is like, this is me from now on. I'm gonna make this work and whatever. So like, Roman, let's hear from you.
Yeah. It's it's interesting. Like I like David's perspective. So you have to be passionate about the thing that you do. That's yeah, I'm 100% for that. But also like you have to sustain your cash flow somehow. And for me, like the biggest thing is like I wanna learn marketing. I maybe also hate it because I'm sort of introverted guy, and I think most of us like so. But at the same time, you need to challenge yourself. Like you need to push your out of the comfort zone, because this is the only way sort of to grow, and especially in that space.
Yeah, and to David's point, like you also gotta double down. Like, sure, you're saying it's uncomfortable, and you gotta get out of your comfort zone or whatever. But there's a difference between getting out of the comfort zone and committing 100% and saying, I love this. This is my new identity. Marketing, my best friend, and you kind of go into it like super hard and spend so much time in reading and all of that. And like you kind of adopt that identity. And then there's like the half commitment where you're like, yeah, well, I got to do it and I don't like it. And you're kind of stacking all these reasons against.
No, I didn't say I don't like it. I like it very much. Is the only thing I'm not very experienced. That's
Yeah,
that's kind of the
that's a
issue. But
reality for sure. Absolutely.
yeah,
But
but
yeah,
I have a belief that
mhm.
like I have this sort of can-do mindset because I did so many drastic things. Like I moved to Australia, then like I have 3 kids, then and I had like the first one when I just finished my PhD here. I didn't have a job, so but I got through this, and it's there's certain things you just have to do, have to push yourself to
I love it.
achieve
Yeah,
something.
it's great. Arthur, my man, you wanna share what you're doing? Thank you so much for sharing, Roman. I really appreciate it. But yeah, Arthur, this is the first time you come up here. You want to share your projects?
Well, originally I'm working on a SaaS for web agencies to find quality leads, and basically it automates a lot of stuff that you would do manually when you're looking for leads when you have a web agency. So websites analysis and well, all kinds of stuff. But it's been on pause for a while because I've had I live in Belgium and taxes are very high, so my my runaway has been cut off sooner than expected, and I'm working contract right now as a freelancer, waiting for the contract to start. So I don't really want to commit like full time on the SaaS too much because I don't want to cut in the middle of something where you're deeply in a problem and then you have to jump to contract. The contract is a completely different technology than what I use. I'm actually learning it, so it's Next.js. So right now I'm writing Nix OS configuration from scratch to learn, and I want to have my own servers and I want to use this OS on it. So
that's
what I'm
great.
working
You
on
kind of like got a
right now.
project that is like expanding your skill set so that maybe after the project you can, hit your own projects harder, because you now have a diversified skill set. Like, is there anything you want to ask the community, like in terms of, maybe how you can crush your contract better, or whether you should maybe do your project at the same time? Like, have you thought about any like these things, or like
so the main difficulty I think is I'd like to work on my SaaS at the same time, but since I have a kid and everything, it's complicated to balance everything. And it's the first time I actually do so I'm working for another web agency that has another client, and so it's pretty chill because I don't have to worry too much with when you're doing client work, you always have these moments where you're working with clients and it's non-technical and it's boring. So I don't have this, but yeah, if people have like actual actionable stuff I can do to continue working on my SaaS, because I was working on the actually I was working on the V1 and I wanted to use the SaaS itself to find my future customers. So
and I'll explain your SaaS real quick. Arthur built like a lead generation tool for kind of web developers, and the leads come within it, the pain points that these leads are facing. So he does like a small analysis on the website and is like, you're not ranking well, you got these opportunities. So you don't just get a lead, you get a lead with a little bit of insight on the lead, so that if you are a web developer, you can approach these people with kind of more information. Mohit is asking, is it live? Arthur, can you put the link in the chat so people can see the landing page?
Sure.
But yeah, anybody who has any ideas, feel free to unmute yourself.
So yeah, it's basically what it does is it's at the moment it uses Google as the source of businesses, but I want to add more later on. And it does a bunch of scraping and analysis, and I use other APIs behind the scenes to get a lot as much data on each lead as I can and display them. You have extensive filters on the left. So there's screenshots online. I have more screenshots, but yeah, so it's very niche, and that's why I think it's an interesting project. Technically, it's somewhat complicated at some parts, but not too much. So it's pretty cool. And to
I love it. I told you
David,
to just make it look more professional. That's kind of my input on it. Like the little dog,
no, I didn't touch it much really.
Yeah, I know.
I know that
You're saying, yeah. But
oh yeah,
that's
yeah.
my input. But yeah, does anybody else have anything, how to help Arthur, maybe hit this while working the contract, or any recommendations? Maybe do the
For
contract
sure.
first, focus on some things, and then, any ideas?
Shall I?
Kyrie, my man. David always has an idea, and I want to hear yours because you always have like some heavy wisdom. But Kyrie, welcome. This is your first call, right? You got any
Thanks.
ideas
Yeah.
for
Can you
Arthur?
hear me now?
I can hear you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can.
Yeah, I actually muted myself before when I was speaking, and then I realized no one can hear me, so I was trying to use the microphone. Good to know it's working now. Yeah, thanks for having me. It's pronounced Kiri, by the way, my name. I know it's kind of misleading,
Kyrie. All
the
right. Yeah.
spelling. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's like a bigger name.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I made you like a
yeah,
guy from Harlem, Kyrie.
Harlem. Okay. All right.
Kyrie. All right.
Um, So Arthur, are you like how much time are you spending right now on the SaaS and how are you managing that time? I mean, are you setting aside like specific hours per day on the weekend, or is it just whenever you find slots? How are you managing that right now?
So originally, I'm working 6 days a week, every day, all day. I try to do like deep work sessions of 4 hours, and I try to have at least two, so between 6 and 8 hours. It really depends on stuff that I have to do outside of work. Right now, I'm not working much on the SaaS. I've been working on the infrastructure, so NixOS servers and stuff like that. And it's a bit chaotic these last 2 weeks because yeah, I'm very stressed, so it's not it's hard to manage.
Yeah,
Your
you said that you have a
transition.
kid as well, right?
Yeah.
You have a kid, yeah. I don't have a kid, so but I do have a little nephew, and I know how my sister, my brother-in-law, always are out of time, right? So I'm sure that's very difficult. I can't really comment on that. What I'll give you what I do to find extra time. Maybe it's not applicable to you, but I'll say it anyway. Maybe someone can get advice out of it. Is because I have a 9 to 5 as well, right? I work every day. And so my time is limited as well. And what I try to do in order to maximize time, I kind of use that salary that I get in order to quote unquote buy back time, if that makes sense. So one of the ways I do that is hire a cleaner to clean my place like every week. Pays me maybe 2 hours on the weekend, right? I mean, it's not much, but it's something, right? That's one thing that I do. If I'm gonna go out, I'll usually just take an Uber instead of public transport. I'll cut down the time, right? I'll order food. So these kind of things where you kind of outsource things that you would do yourself using the salary. I understand not everyone can do that, but I found it's effective for me, right? And it's also when you outsource this work, it not only gives you back time, but I find back energy as well, right? So you can be more focused in these things. And again, maybe the things I said not so applicable to you. I don't know what your day-to-day life is, but maybe just makes you think, oh, maybe there's something that I'm doing in my day-to-day life that I can outsource, right? So that's one tip I'd give you.
I love it.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
It's great
Kiri,
idea.
yeah, that's makes total sense. We do the same because, like as I said, we got 3 kids, and we outsource the whole, like everything. Like literally, like the lady cleans the house every day pretty much, and she cooks for us as well. So that's a total game changer. And yeah, ordering food. Not sure where you guys from, but here in Australia, it's very easy. You just order something online and you can have lists of repetitive like stuff, like your veggies, whatever, meat, and then it comes to your front door, and that's all
Yes,
set. And then this lady comes, unpacks the whole thing, cooks everything, and you just either spend time with family or do your job,
I
whatever.
love it. Yeah, it's good advice. Kind of like any kind of stupid task you're doing right now, like cooking or whatever. If you can just outsource that, just do that. David, you had something piece of advice for Arthur.
Yeah. Not sure if it applies though, but I mean, you can give your opinion then. Is like you, if I recall correctly, you said like you're basically in a contracting position where you also are about to learn basically the technology that you're doing and whatnot, and you would rather work on the SaaS and whatever. Given the circumstances, like I would have given you other advice if you wouldn't have a kid, but I know from friends how it is to have a kid. I don't have one, but like I know my advices for me don't apply here. So what I was thinking though is like um there's two upsides which you like might not rephrase is recontextualize somewhat is like I think you said you're learning Next.js, so that would be something you could maybe try to appreciate in the sense of that it actually will help you also getting faster in the SaaS part. So it's actually something you get paid for and is like kind of like free learning, so to say. So that maybe helps appreciating that part of the life. And also given that, like, for example, I know a lot of stuff about the technology that I'm using, but it's proven actually that science that when you learn new things, that the brain is more active because you're not in this tunnel mode. So I know I'm not sure if it helps, but it's kind of like this. I know you can't change the situation, so maybe like put the situation in a different context and try to think like it actually helps your brain keeping being active, and it helps you basically um growing more your SaaS because like nowadays let's just be honest, like you can put an opinion on it, but like many pages, many SaaS are made with Next. So it could just be seen as something beneficial in that case.
I love that. Yeah, I just want to add something to David. Uh, before I bring it back to Arthur, because I want to hear your thoughts on what everybody said. But I agree with David. Like instead of kind of saying, "Oh, working on both means spending time building both," maybe it's like, "Hey, I got this free time, and I also have this space, to kind of forget about the SaaS a bit and maybe master Next.js and other stuff, because you have this time opened up. Maybe, you go down the Next.js because JavaScript in general is C++, and you're like a C++ master. So you can like look at the code underneath the code and kind of learn some more stuff there, and then immersing yourself in this learning experience, coming out of it, looking at your SaaS again, you can be like, oh wow, I can do this easier. I can do this easier. I can do this easier. And now it unlocks so much, of your productivity. So what do I see you smiling and laughing? What do you got? You're like, I'm not a C++ master.
Yeah, I'm
You're
no C++
gonna do the humble
master.
guy.
No, I'm not. It's C++ is super complicated. And but yeah, so I'm actually really happy to have this contract, and I don't mind learning Next. I've actually in 2023 I was working for a startup, and I was full stack React and TypeScript. So actually for my SaaS I'm learning the stack. I'm using Golang and HTMX. So I'm happy to use Next because I've seen a lot of people using it, and I think it's an interesting approach to the routing problem. So yeah, I'm learning a lot. I'm taking stuff because I'm writing my own kind of framework for building stuff. So there's always good stuff to take somewhere and learn. And no, I'm really happy with this. I'm also using RPC, which is something I've never done before. So I'm really appreciative. It's more of a, so like Kiri said, it's more of a, did I say it correctly? It's Kiri. It is.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
He got the thumbs up.
It's yeah, no, it's actually a cool experience. It's just little time. My wife is actually doing a lot of the the stuff that's not related to my work, so cooking, taking care of our son,
Nice.
and cleaning, gardening, etc. So
She's the real
it's
hero.
yeah, yeah, for sure. She's like the heal, and I'm the DPS, So yeah, and to answer, because people are freaking out, I have the second half of my keyboard. It's there.
That's so funny.
It's medical stuff, So yeah, it's
Well, thank you so much for
I'm
sharing. Yeah,
glad to play with it. Sure,
I
thanks for the opportunity. Thanks,
I
guys.
appreciate it. Yeah. Do you have any other questions, or like you're satisfied? I feel like you're like in a transition period, so it's really hard to give advice anyways, because you gotta like settle into the.
Yeah. Nah, I'm fine. I'm moving with the flow and learning new stuff, so it's fine.
That's awesome. Kiri, my
Thanks,
man,
guys.
you want to share your project?
Sure, yeah. Actually, I just came here to like say hello, and meet you guys. Just wrapping up my 9 to 5, like on my work laptop here. That's why I'm kind of like half distracted. Deploying in production on a Friday afternoon. So I'm making sure everything's okay, right? My project. Well, I've got one project which I already launched like early this year. You did a review video, Zaid. I haven't watched it yet. I was literally about to watch it, and then I got a notification that you're going live.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, I'll go live. We'll see what all that's about. I'll watch that later. Thanks for doing it. It's basically a clipboard manager for Mac OS. At the time, I was kind of frustrated with clipboard managers because I'm kind of a conscious guy, and they all have network capabilities enabled. If it's a Mac OS app, you can see what kind of capabilities each app has, right? And when it comes to the clipboard app, which can literally see everything that you copy, I wasn't comfortable installing one. Given that they have network capabilities. Not that they're malicious, but again, you never know. But like, oh, I'll just build one for myself, right? I didn't know Swift. I've never had done a macOS app before. So like, oh, it'd be a nice challenge. And at the time, I wasn't into indie hacking or anything like that. I didn't even have a X profile or Twitter profile, whatever it was called back then. So I just started building it. And as I was building, I was like, oh, wait a minute, maybe I'll actually put it up there into the world and see what they write, if they like or not. So, as you do, I just polished it, a bit more, kind of made it into product, landing page, and, the whole 9 yards, and released it out there. I think that was like early this year, if I'm not mistaken, maybe late last year, something like that. And this was like the first product that I had released, right? I've never done anything like that before. I was just kind of 9 to 5 Andy, if that makes sense. And I kind of found out the hard way that building it is the easy part, right? Then you kind of need to sell it and find an audience. And so sales didn't go great. I did like Reddit marketing, like putting it on subreddits and stuff, and I got some sales, but we're talking about like I could probably count them with my fingers, right? Not really good at all. I had no idea how to market at the time, literally zero idea. So I just kind of felt like really demotivated with the whole thing. Still happy with the fact that I actually launched something, but kind of demotivated to continue with it. If that makes sense, since it wasn't like sales. I was just making small improvements based on my own personal needs, right? So I just kind of abandoned it until summer. And at the time during summer, I was like, oh, just kind of got tired of my 9 to 5. A long time thing, but it was like building over time, like getting tired of the 9 to 5. I'm like, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. I'm 30 years old. So like, well, way out of this. Well, I need to maybe build my own thing, build my own business, right? So then I was like, oh, maybe I'll get back into building building things, and I found out the indie hacking movement, Peter Levels, that. So it's like, oh, I want to get into this, right? And so I've got a second project going on now, a third one as well. I haven't like talked about them publicly yet. And one of the big things I did is I started an X profile last month. I didn't have a profile before then. In fact, I didn't really like social media. I only had a LinkedIn profile to find jobs, to find a career.
Yeah.
Good for that. But part of the lesson that I learned for marketing and finding an audience, I'm like, oh shit, I need to have some kind of online presence, right?
Absolutely.
And I got an X profile, and that's been going pretty well so far. And yeah, I know I've been talking for a long time, so I'll wrap it up. Next week, I'm hoping next week I'll publish a landing page for my second project, and I'll tell everyone what it's about.
Okay, I love it. No, I did see the clipboard manager, and I love it. I think it's a fun idea, and I gave you
Thank you.
some tips in it. Definitely submit your new projects to the Feedback Friday, and for next week, you got to fix your mic issue because you've been like a robot talking a lot.
All right.
You're gonna listen to
Okay.
the thing again, and you're gonna be like robot Kiri in action. But so I
Okay.
like it. Is since you've done your X thing, and you kind of like got traction there, is the clipboard manager also getting like
Yeah,
attention?
I got a lot of traffic, all a lot. Maybe like the past week I got 200 visitors, 220, but just one sale, so it's not converting well.
Is it converting to the
Um,
free and not converting to the paid, or what?
Well, actually, I don't have analytics on the downloads, unfortunately. I have on the visits to the page. I don't have on the downloads, but I have obviously on the if someone pays for it, right? So that's a
Also, you
gap
don't
I
know
need
how
to.
many are converting to you can't put analytics on it, like embedded in
Yeah,
the code.
I'm sure I could. I just haven't done it.
Well, you should.
Yeah,
So
maybe should. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely should.
100%. So
Um,
okay, so you know, 200 visits, one sale. It's not bad. The conversion, to sales. I also like when I did the roast. I'm like, you shouldn't have a free tier for a product like this. You should have maybe a free trial that converts to paid, like
mm,
a credit card up front. So you're going to see that soon. But so great. This product seems like you got one in the bag. There's not
right.
many more improvements you can do to a clipboard manager, but it's very beautifully done and has all the features. So that's beautiful. And with your next two apps, do you have kind of challenges, or like what are you thinking there? Like
Yeah, so one of them is kind of a Web3 app, and it's not something I'm planning to build in public nor release in public, I would say. So approached me that I know in real life, and he wants to automate some things that he's doing manually. And so I'm working with him on doing that. So yeah, that's what I going to build in public. So I won't speak much to that. The other one, what challenges do I have? Well, right now it's a lack of time. Because I started working on that other project, like I mentioned, the Web3 one, and also since I've started posting on X like 3-4 weeks ago, that's kind of consumed my time massively as well. And I
100%.
got some traction, like a viral post earlier this week. I've been kind of on X the entire time, trying to kind of ride the wave and capitalize on that, right? And so like I suppose Arthur, I also have problems with time. It's not that I don't have time to work on a project. It's just I have time like prioritizing that over the other project, and it acts like a project of itself as well, right?
It is, yeah.
And stuff. So I'm kind of finding difficulty to prioritize that. But I'm hoping like after this week, where kind of I've had this week where I went viral on X, right, and I kind of died down now. So I'm hoping I can like get lower the amount of time I'm spending on X, right, and on that project. And I've kind of set myself a deadline of by end of next week to have the landing page out. So
That's
I'm
good.
gonna
Yeah.
try and stick to that.
Yeah, and with X, they do like accomplishments. So you kind of taking some time off and then hitting them with, hey, I launched this, it's gonna create that hype cycle back up.
Mm-hmm.
So, I wouldn't worry too much about that. Before I open it up to the community, just from me, I tell this, same thing, like you don't want to do this extra stuff, you don't want to cook, you don't want to, and the same thing at night, whatever, 8 p.m., nothing after 8 p.m. is gonna be productive. Or if you're a night guy, that's a different thing. But most people after 8 p.m., they're watching TV, they're hanging out, they're doing about nothing. I would go to sleep and wake up 2 hours earlier or 3 hours earlier and hit your projects like, before the sun is up, everybody's sleeping, you're not interacting with anybody. And I would just hit 2 hours in the morning for like a project like that. So let me open it up to everyone. Jared, also welcome. Sarantuya, also welcome. Russ, welcome. Anybody who has any feedback for Kieran?
I have a question. Like, what marketing channels have you used to promote your clipboard thing?
Oh, before when he didn't get traction? It's a good question.
First one, right?
Maybe even right now, because like the question, okay, why I'm asking this, because I see guys like John Rush, and here I think Andre also in the community are building like this link, like list, so where you can list your thing in a bunch of directories. So first question is, from like anyone has experience with these tools, do they really help? And if they help, how effective is that? And is it like something potentially dangerous, because Google can perhaps penalize you if you add a whole bunch of bank links straight away? So just prompting you guys on this. And
it's a good discussion topic, Roman.
Yeah,
I'm gonna leave it to the end after everybody shares, because I'm pretty sure tons of people have a lot of opinions on that one. On the submitting to a directory and kind of the benefits of that. So I want to reiterate your question to Thierry, just so we can move things along. But what marketing channels did you use, and how effective were they, to promote the book?
Yeah, so for the clipboard manager, I think I only used Reddit. I don't recall doing anything else. And by Reddit, what I did was I set up a keyword monitor. This tool called I think it's FBot. It's a pretty good tool, and just set up a keyword and you select certain Reddit subreddits, I should say, and when someone posts a comment or something and that keyword is included, it notifies you by email. What I would do is I set up a keyword like clipboard or things related to clipboard, right, or macOS or things like that. And if I found like related discussions about clipboard manager, I would go in and post about the tool. And I think I made like one or two posts as well, maybe in the macOS apps subreddit, maybe another one. So that's all I did for.
So just Reddit, and now you're doing like Twitter and like, yeah.
Well, for now, I haven't done much marketing yet, but I've done sort of market research for what I'm building now, and I just Reddit. I found a couple of niche subreddits that are very related to what I'm doing, and I also found other niche communities on Discord and a couple of forums on Instagram as well. So I do have areas where I'm planning to go and market once I have this landing page out and with a wait list, effectively.
Yeah. Does anybody have any tips for Kiri about like time management, maybe, which is like his biggest challenge right now?
Can I quickly pitch in? So there is like a directory called alternative2.net, and there are a whole bunch of clipboard managers, and you can, plug your product there and see if it gets any traction. But I use that site all the time when when I search for some like little tools like these clipboard managers or screenshot tools, whatever. Just maybe try it out or see how much traffic that alternative to .NET thing gets. I think they got some decent traffic. I'm putting it in the chat. That's it from me.
Awesome.
Thank you, Roman.
Yeah.
I wanted to.
Yeah.
Sure thing. Alpha. Go
Sorry,
ahead.
man. Yeah, just quickly we talked a bit about analytics. So I've tried a bit different stuff for analytics for like web page, not the app itself. And the one I found that's really, really easy to set up and works well and has good out the box features is PostHog, and it works fine with Europe boring laws and everything. So I'd recommend you look into this. It's like 3 clicks and you're good.
Thanks for the recommendation, Arthur. I've heard about it. I've never used it. I use Plausible, self-hosted. I don't know if you've used that and whether you can like draw a conclusion with that.
Sorry, you cut.
Plausible.
Yeah, sorry, it's
Plausible.
Have you used that, Arthur?
Okay.
Yeah, Arthur,
Right.
do you know like have you used Plausible, and how does it compare with PostHog?
No, I've never used it. I've used Umami, Rocket Log, Sentry, stuff like that. But it's different use case. But Umami, I've used quite a bit on self-hosted, and it's not as good. Plausible, never tried. Only by name, just not the name. I think Jarek dropped his phone.
Can you self-host PostHog?
I'm not sure. Let me check it out.
Yeah, PostHog has a good landing page for anybody who need landing page installation.
Yeah, you can self-host them. Yeah.
Nice. Thanks for the recommendation. Awesome.
Alex, we haven't heard from you. What's going on? And Russ, Tully. Is Jarek still here? Yeah, Jarek. Anybody wants to come and share? David, also, you haven't shared yet.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused. Did Jarek die?
No, he's here. Why is he dead?
It looks like his phone is on the floor, doesn't it?
Oh, his videos is
No, the phone is on the floor.
What?
Oh no,
there he is.
No, I'm here. Oh, let me turn off the video. Yeah, I'm walking to get coffee, but I'm hearing. I died. I came back. What's up, boys?
What's going on, buddy?
Yeah. Okay. Let me just add one thing to Kiri. I think there was a question open about time management.
Yep.
I'm mostly bad at it, so take it with a grain of salt. But I've been better at it in times, and then I know what works. I should just adhere to it. Is again, it depends. If you have children, it might be different. Do you have children?
No.
All right.
No.
So you kind of have to definitely find out, as Said said, if you're a night guy or a morning guy. I'm a morning guy, definitely. And if you are, my best tip is go to fucking sleep at 10 p.m. latest and stand up at 5 a.m. 7 hours of sleep for most people is sufficient. If it's not for you, then make it 5:30 or 45 past 5. That should be
or
sufficient.
Sleep earlier, even like sleep at 9 or 8.
Or sleep earlier. So if you stick to that routine, which I did for some time lately, I've been not good at it, but I'm just today I reflected and I want to come back to that. So, but again, if you're a night guy, it might be different, but stick to the routine. So basically that's big win.
Yeah, I'm actually a night guy. I'm most productive and creative at night. And I finish work at 7 p.m. So, but yeah, my problem is more around prioritization, I would say, rather than time management, like being able to prioritize the project over another project, right? Or over X, right? I would say is my problem personally.
Well, with that, you know, it's kind of I'm writing an article right now for my newsletter about that, but it's you're not gonna find the perfect routine that you can kind of run infinitely. It's more of a seasons thing. So right now you're in the season where like X might be more important because you just launched it and you're just getting engagement and you want to build those relationships. So it takes priority now, but once there's like diminishing returns, you know, you can now reprioritize and say, okay, the next season I'm gonna focus on this, and then you focus on that, and it's kind of you work like that. There's never gonna be the perfect routine of what you should prioritize that's gonna lead to the outcomes you want, you know. So that's kind of what I have.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I've got the winter arc coming in now.
Yeah,
See how that
exactly.
goes.
Exactly. Alex, my man, what's going on?
Yeah, what's up, everyone? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Everything is fine on my side. I forced myself to not continue building my reports for my customers by myself because, yeah, it took me like 3 to 6 hours to prepare a report. So last 2 weeks, I was focusing on building an MVP, and I cut off 99% of the features from the first version. And to all people who don't know what I'm building, I'm working on a check MVP product. It could help us as indie hackers, indie makers validate our ideas using AI. So if you have raw idea and you don't know who is your target audience, what features you have to be focused on your first version, this product might help you. So
Nice.
I finished it today, and tomorrow I will publish everything on my server. So I will share the link on Twitter so everyone can test it out. And I would love to have your feedback.
So you changed, yeah, Alex. Let me just ask you some follow-up questions, you know, and make sure we got the change right. So you started with this idea that, you know, creates this report based on an ID you give it, and it has 40 different criteria, you know, and you're like, I took it down to target market and core features you should focus on for the specific target market, correct?
Not really. Actually, in the first version, I had about 10 questions where people should answer, like who's your target audience, what's your MVP features, your concerns, blah, blah, blah. And I kept only 2 of them, like what's your problem and who is your target audience. And based on these answers, I prepare automatic report using AI. And after all, if you find your idea is great and you got some inspiration, you can dive deeper by clicking the button and request like landing page content, Google Ads, Facebook tweets, etc., etc. But for the first version, I would like to keep it as small as possible, just to grab people feedback, how it works, to tune my GPT prompts, etc., etc. And tomorrow it will be alive, and yeah, I'm super excited. I'm super happy. I'm gonna work all the weekend.
Very cool, yeah. And submit the landing page next week on Friday. But so you think you changed it from all this work up front to more of like a progressive experience, where you start with something, you get like a result, and then from that result be like, hey, how do I create landing page? Boom, create landing page. I want to run some ads on Google. Boom, Google ads, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like small steps. I don't want to build so many features because I don't have a real feedback from the customers. So when I prepare like first 50 reports, I will ask people what do they need, what kind of information they need to build their product or even create a landing page. And after all, I will focus to deliver these changes to my MVP. And step by step, it will be better. It's my idea, pro idea.
Okay, so you last time you told us you had like 10 people you kind of got to use your
Yeah.
your past product.
It was like Google form with 10 questions, and I built almost 10 reports, and I spent about 30 hours.
Yeah, and what was the feedback from these people? Like you
people
said,
were excited.
Yeah.
All of them were super happy, but I think 80% of them told me like it's super crazy report, but it's impossible to read because there are 50 to 80 pages in PDF.
Mm-hmm.
It's impossible to read all the kind of information because all of them don't even need like Google Ads or tweet series or something like that. They just need to validate their idea and refine the target audience or the first MVP feature that they really need to be focused on for the
Very
product.
cool. Okay,
Yeah.
and is this new product? Did you test that one out with those? Like, did you go back to the 10 people that submitted and be like, "Hey, this is my new product. What do you think?"
I'm in contact with these guys, and when once I published, I send them link and try to get their.
So you still haven't gotten their feedback, but you have a plan to get their feedback once the new version is.
Feedback loop. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
So what's next? Like, what kind of are you considering right now in terms of challenges and like, what would you like to ask the community?
I have no idea at this moment. I just want to finish. My first step is to publish my application and like to have a green mark, like I did it, and yeah, I will be happy after all. So after that, I will be focusing on the feedback, and then we will figure out how it would help us.
Okay, then let me ask you maybe one or two more questions, and then I'll open it up. Did you use it for your situation? And if you did, what is the target market, and what is the core problem you're solving?
Yeah, the core feature, it's like I use my own product to build my own product. It's like a recursion for programmers. So I use to improve my own product, answering the questions and getting the feedback. So I want to improve it step by step by talking to my own product. It's like, I don't know, it's like a loop.
It's a loop, but is it a healthy one? Like, let's leave it there. Like, let's see what people have to say about that, because like you can say it's recursion, but some people might say it's circular logic, which is not good. So let's see what people got to say about the problem. But I'm definitely excited to see the launch, and if you guys can maybe give some launch tips or like post launch tips to Alex.
It's not as long as you have a base case, it's no problem to use recursion. I think it's actually great to do that. So yeah, well, I think it's a great, like we always, like, for example, I do a product to find leads, but until Zaid told me to use it to find my own leads, I didn't think about it, So sometimes the most obvious stuff is right in front of you, and it's pretty cool. I didn't understood everything that you do because I'm also half, so sorry. But where can I find you on Twitter to get that link tomorrow to check it out?
Yeah, where are you launching, Alex?
On Twitter, of course. And after all, I think I will launch on Product Hunt and on microlaunch.net, almost everywhere. But I will start with my small audience who already
definitely save those, get some traction going, then go on Product Hunt and microlaunch.
The first goal, I need to get their feedback and to put testimonials on the landing page to have some kind of social proof.
100%.
And only after after this year, I will be focusing on the marketing stuff.
Yeah, I like it.
Your handle is Kadyrov Dev on Twitter.
No,
Yes,
I
I like. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, carried off that.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not really. IT mistakes _com. It's my handle.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
I have 2 accounts. So
Okay.
IT mistakes is the first one.
Can you share it in the chat? IT mistakes. Okay, cool.
Yeah, you
Thanks.
got it. Anybody have any feedback to Alex? For Alex?
Sounds like
I
a plan
got a
to me.
question. Is
What,
it
Dave?
like
Sorry.
It
No,
just
Roman.
sound.
Whoever. Paper,
I
scissors,
just said
rocks.
sounds like a plan to me. That's all I said.
Yeah, it sounds like there's nothing really, no feedback really, because he got to launch. He has to launch first before we can kind of assess the situation. Roman, what do you want to say?
I just wanted to ask, is it like an encapsulated sort of prompt to create a report around your idea?
Yeah, kind of. The main idea when I was start working on this product, it's like to offer my software development services and consulting to people who have some kind of ideas, but they don't have enough knowledge how to build a product. Like you want to build something like using Next.js, it's on hype right now, but you don't know how to build this product, or you don't know how to deliver to your VPS or something like that. So I can assist you. First of all, I would like to give as many information as you need using AI and all kinds of stuff. And after all, if you need my help, I would be happy to help you. So
it's like a lead magnet.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
It's good. No, it's a good idea. Like especially if you can execute, make it nice and whatever. It's like a website grader for HubSpot, right?
For me, frankly speaking, it's like the way how can I live my 9 to 5, because I want to work on my own products. I want to help people. I want to share my knowledge, and if I can spend all my free time by helping other people to launch their products, I would be super happy. But when you work 9 to 5, you have about 5 to 6 hours a day to work on your pet products. So when I will be ready to cut off my 9 to 5 job, I will have extra 8 hours to work on other products.
Yeah, and you got some good time-saving tips in this episode, right? You gotta order food, wake up early, get it made. Stop wasting time cooking.
Yeah, I really like this stuff, because when I lived in Moscow, I use these services like to order food, to get some maid services, something like that. It's really helpful. But currently I live in Dubai. It's almost impossible to get this expensive stuff. And yeah, I just try to do everything on my own. My wife's helping me every day. So yeah, I'm just focusing on building and grab some food, have 3 to 4 hours sleep every day. Yeah, it's enough. So yeah, thank you for your question, guys.
Roman, I think you can unmute yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, just wanted to suggest something, if your product gets traction. So it looks at this point like a sort of easy to replicate tool, but if you say position it differently, say you generate this report, so people have idea and it says like, oh, you need Next.js, front end or something like MongoDB back, like whatever, just different technologies. But also you can suggest, say, people who can do this job. So make it like as a directory, and monetize from that.
Yeah.
So that will be a next level and much more helpful, I think, tool. So you got an idea, you got some excellent devs with reviews and stuff, and you can put
But it's not
together.
related to the idea, right? Like, you know, it's a good idea, but it, you know, his idea
it's
is more of
a
like an
suggestion
MVP. Yeah.
to monetize further if that gets traction.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
But something to
It's
think
great.
about.
It's a great point, really great point, because I was thinking about it like a week ago, and it was great inspiration. Like, if I have like 10 developers who offering their services, I can list them on my application, like for some kind of money, amount of money, and or I can put their referral links or affiliate links, blah blah blah. Yeah, it's great. Why not? Why not?
I love it. Let's hear from Tully. Oh man. Are you available to chat? That's to unmute. No, he's not there.
Hello, I'm here.
Oh, you're here. My man, what's going on?
Yeah.
Any updates from last week, bro?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, so last week I was here. We talked a lot about the idea I had. I went and implemented some stuff. I removed a lot of things like the whole backend.
Yeah, then, recap the idea for people that are
so, yeah. My idea is an app or a web app that takes your native stories, your cultural native stories, and presents them to people. And I use AI to prompt out the story to readers. So yeah, that's just the basic overflow of the app, what it's looking like right now. And
I've been seeing your pictures, like the updates. They look good. So what's been going on since then?
So I've been posting updates on my X. I thought the prompting was going to be easy, not gonna lie. And since I'm using like the free tier of everything, it's a bit hard to get the prompts to work nicely. But I've prompted in 2 stories right now from my culture, and they're up on the website. And then okay, something weird is before I started the project, the domain name I had in mind was free. But then right now I checked yesterday, it wasn't free. Someone had bought it, and I don't think I had posted it anywhere. Yeah, so that's a challenge I got.
It was good. TulleyMwenda. It was good.
It's not available. I'm a big bummer, but I'm gonna figure something out. I have ideas.
So did you show the 2 stories to your niece, or like?
No, not yet.
Not yet. When's that gonna happen?
But I showed it to some other kid, and they liked it. My niece lives a bit far from me.
So you showed it to some other kids. What was their reaction?
They liked it, although he said that he doesn't read. He doesn't like reading a lot, but he liked the basic feel of the app. Okay, the basic feel of the stories. The app doesn't look good yet, but
the stories, the output, like. And did you show it to any parents and got like some feedback from parents?
Not yet.
Because when you got to think about that, because anytime you're selling something to a kid, who's in charge of the money is the parent. So it's kind of like harder to sell to kids because you got to make the kids happy, but also make the parents understand. So what kind of challenges you're facing since last week? Because last week you were like you didn't know exactly the idea, but now it seems like the idea. You're like, hey, I want to build up this story series that are native to Kenya with images. And then once I produce all these stories, maybe I can sell the whole bundle. But then I'm going to get practice, prompting and creating like the backend technology. And then maybe next step is selling the technology. But are you facing any challenges now that you're like focused on a lane that you might need help with?
Okay, I can show you guys where I'm hosting the website right now, and then you guys can give me like feedback on how a proper app is supposed to look like. I was thinking about making the landing page over the weekend. Also starting maybe short form content about the app basically, but I don't have any knowledge in editing videos, making CapCuts. I tried asking people online, but I didn't get the feedback that I wanted. So maybe if someone over here has experience with short form content, posting on TikTok using CapCut and maybe other editing softwares, you can hit me up. I'd like to have that discussion. I can
We'll
give
have
you
it
guys
right
the
now.
link.
We'll have it right now. But let me just, you know, make sure, you know, we're discussing the right thing. So you're saying I'm posting these videos or making these images of the stories, and they're on
Making
the
the
website.
images of the stories, I think I've sorted that out. The prompting technique, I've sorted it out. Although I'm still working around it. I think I have that in the bag pretty much. Now it's just
And
like
are you
about
selling? What are you selling right now? Like, what are you selling, so we know what you're
Oh, for
promoting,
the
right?
pricing. Oh, okay. I've not even thought about pricing, but basically what I'm selling right now is a platform where the stories from your culture are given a second life in the future using AI.
Okay. And how does
yeah.
that like step 1, 2, 3? I have native stories, you know, like what am I supposed to do, and what is the interaction? What is the behavior that you're selling?
Okay, so the interaction. So basically, you have a story and you want it to be featured on the app. What do you do? That's the question.
Oh, your app. So you have an app that has native stories, basically, and
yeah,
you want to show. Okay, and I come and I'm like, hey, I want to submit a story, and you give them all the tools to write, prompt the images, and then submit the story. Is that what I'm getting?
Nah, I was thinking maybe, okay, I think that's like maybe I don't have that right now, but I was thinking maybe I have so many ideas that it's actually like so complicated in my head. So right now I have 2 stories from my culture. I'll add more later when this week was just about figuring out how the prompting was working, how everything is
Yeah.
working. So now, if, for example, what I'm getting from your question is you're asking how what exactly I'm selling. Okay, what I'm selling is, am I even selling? I think I can do it like for free or something for the first like season. I'm thinking about seasons. So season 1 is Kenya. Season 2 is probably gonna be, what's your culture, Zaid?
Wait, I'm from like the Middle East, so like Arabs.
Yeah. So Arabs, your culture is Arabic. So for
Mm.
season 2, we'll have Arabic cultures. Season 3, we might have Chinese guys. Season 4, we might have Mexican guys. Season 5, we have people from America. Season 6, we might have people from Japan.
Interesting approach. I'm gonna open this up to the community. All right. So, and how do you pronounce your name? Is it Tuli?
It's Tali or Tuli. It works.
Tali or Tuli? Which one's more
Yeah.
proper? Tali?
Tuli.
Tuli. All right.
Yeah.
So Tuli has this passion for reading, right? And this is kind of where this idea came from. He's like, I grew up with these stories, you know, they kind of animated my childhood, and he wants more kids reading these kind of stories from cultural heritage and stuff like that. So he's like, I want to build a platform around this idea, but he doesn't know what exactly. Right now, all he has is the piece of you definitely the written story, but then how to make it more kid accessible is that there's this like image that you can anchor these stories in that makes it, or maybe multiple images. So do you guys have any ideas for Tulio on how he can monetize this, or you know, what kind of platform he can build around this idea?
I have an idea.
Yeah.
Basically, because my son is 7-year-old and I'm doing reading with him in English and Russian. And in English, what we do, because he hates, um, learning to read, but he likes interesting stories. And that's that's what I started doing with ChatGPT. So his name is Solomon, and like King Solomon, like in all the cultures, kind of universal character. And what we do, like we create stories in ChatGPT for his reading level, which is like level 2. And in English, like when you teach kids to learn languages, you have this gradation. And level 2 is kind of basic English. So I ask ChatGPT, create a story about King Solomon and whatever, robot, for example. So that it's entertaining and engaging and inspires curiosity. So like you create this prompt, that puts a specific angle on the story, and it does just wonders, just one little paragraph prompt gives a fantastic story that's easy to read, that has all these like characteristics of his like level. And so, yeah, that's kind of idea, but you can take it in whatever angle you like, but that's something really useful for at least my case.
No, I love it. It's kind of brewing some stuff in my head, but I want to hear Jared. It seems like you got some ideas.
Huh? Me?
Yeah, you unmuted. I thought you had an idea. No?
No. My phone is in my pocket. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's fine.
I put something.
Yeah.
This is more of a question towards the parents in this chat, because I'm not one, but maybe their answer will help you, Tully. And it's about the medium that you will use to distribute this app, right? Whether it's going to be a web app, an app on a smartphone, an app on a tablet, an iPad, right? And again, this is more towards the parents, but the way I would imagine kind of reading a story to a child of my own, or even that child reading the story him or herself, I probably wouldn't be doing that from a desktop, right? I would want something that's more portable, maybe like a tablet, and have it as an app, right? As a native app. That just makes it super easy to use, whether by myself or by the child, right? So I'm wondering, for the parents in this chat, does what I said make sense, or would you suggest any specific device or medium for Tully to focus on?
I do desktop because it's like big. For kids, it's good with bigger letters, and my son doesn't like, small ones, especially at first stages when they're learning like to put together words, and not very comfortable with the language yet. The bigger the letters, the better. It's either iPad or desktop. And yeah, I actually put together some little JavaScript, to make it more interactive, because sometimes, he struggles with, say, CH combination or SH or whatever. He confuses I with a capital I with L. And I made it in a way so you can type whatever like combination you want, and it gets highlighted. And, it's kind of reading training app for kids.
I like this idea, the fusion of both these ideas. Like, what Roman, especially because you have a kid and you're like going through these things. So what I'm thinking, Tully, is like a platform. Like, this is the idea that hit me. It's like a platform where it's like user submitted kids' stories, right? And they're based on characters, so like you got, how Roman said, like you got, King Solomon, and then you got Abu Nuwasi, and you got all these different cultural characters, or clusters or categories of stories, and they're user submitted. You can submit the story for the kids, and then you can kind of review them. So like, let's say Roman doesn't want to create his own prompt or own story, and wants a story from someone else's culture to kind of teach his kid more cultural stuff. He can just go to your app, find the characters based on culture, like, there's this guy from the German culture, this guy, and he just screens the story. He can see the reviews next to it, like whatever, has 12 5-star reviews from parents or whatever, and he checks it out, and if he likes it, he can show it to his kid. So that sounds like a a cool platform.
Okay. I hear you. I hear you guys.
Yeah, just a note. I have to go, but I wanted to ask why you don't have a website on your Twitter to redirect people to a landing page already.
Oh,
Tully?
Yeah.
Because I started building it last week.
Okay.
I'm hosting on Vercel right
Sorry,
now.
man.
I don't even have the cash to buy a domain yet. So it's just basically fresh. It's just fresh. I got the feedback from the original idea last week on Friday. So I've been working on that through the whole week. Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool, man.
No, it's great.
Best of luck. It's a cool project.
I've sent the link the chat box so you guys can give me some. Don't mind about the navbar. Those
yeah.
Yeah.
Does anybody wanna share their projects, or should we move to the discussion that Roman opened up?
I think we should move to you sharing your project because you've been working on some
secret.
Yeah.
No, it's I'm not sharing like what exactly I'm building yet, probably by the end of this month, but I've been building since February, and like the way I'm not really good at GitHub. So what I do is every full day I'm working, I create a branch with what, features I'm working on. So since February, what is it, 8 months, I've worked, 90 full days on it. So, so it's a big project, so hopefully, and I can get, now that I'm just doing Friday and, a little bit on Thursday to kind of hype up this call. I'm doing a lot more work, like when I was just doing Twitter, I didn't have much time to go deep because you can kind of lie to yourself and be like, hey, yeah, I'm gonna do 3 hours of focused work and whatever. And anybody who's programming knows that 3 hours is not enough time to do much. You kind of have to like just forget about time and just code away and get lost in it. So that's kind of what I wanted. That's why I'm taking a break from Twitter. So probably by the end of the month I'll have something to share. And like my plan is to launch an alpha program at first before even like a beta program and get like 50 people, that, I've built relationships with this past year to kind of work on, play around with it. Everybody can kind of use it. It's to do with notes. That's as much as I'm about to share. Like that's the category is notes. But what does it do exactly? You're gonna have to wait and find out. But that's from me. Like I definitely, yeah, taking the break was necessary. I'm gonna write something to kind of put my thoughts into it. But yeah, Twitter is not a good friend for builders because it's so addictive, especially if you get good at it and you get engagement and you develop friendships. You're like, well, I told Dave this, what did Dave have to say? And like you're kind of it drags you in, and it's built like that. Like it's optimized with trillions of data points and billions of users or whatever, millions of users, and like you can't escape or outsmart it.
Yeah, anyway, if you have any issues, any troubles with your code, just hit me up.
Hell yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
but yeah, has anybody submitted their projects to directories? And like what are your Jarek, first of all, before we go to the discussion, Jarek, do you want to share anything? Like any updates from last week?
No.
Okay. And David, I'm gonna ask you too. Do you have anything to share? Like I feel like you're about to launch like a rebrand for your service, right?
Yeah, as well. Well, I would. I mean, I could share. It's not that I don't want, but I would love to keep it on a high level because I think that's actually much more interesting. Just give me a second. There's someone calling. I have to, like, how do I even? Sometimes I don't understand iPhones. I'll just leave it. It's like some things are so complicated on iPhones. Yeah, so what I was trying to say is I have high motivation somewhat. Like for me, it's different. That's why I said before, I don't have kids. That's important to mention here because you can't compare my position with someone who has kids. But for me, it's like actually the nearer the day comes, the nearer the day, that doesn't make sense.
We understand what you're saying. Yeah, the closer the date of launch comes or something.
Yeah. The closer I'm coming to basically not being in my 9 to 5 anymore and not having that like exact plan. It kind of puts me into a position of motivational fear, right? We heard before this, I gotta sustain myself. That's correct, but it's much easier to sustain myself when I'm basically alone. So I can just go to the barista worst case and like help in the coffee shop, whatever. So and yeah, so I got high motivation, and I'm about to rebrand basically my portfolio and some more feedback on basically my consultancy because someone just this is what I said I think last time. I said like you sometimes forget what impact basically implicit things have. So just for context, someone booked me, so someone noticed me because I'm doing free calls, right? So and he said like I like the idea of free calls. So I thought why not talk? And instead of just Supabase, they asked basically, can you help us database scaling from basically 50,000 entries per day to I think it was 20 million or something like that. So quite some change there. And I said, I said yes, obviously. I mean, if I can't do that, what am I supposed to do? So, and I already got feedback, which was even more motivational, like on just a small subset of it. Like he said, like he was saying, like, should we change that query? Right? I'm not going into details, don't worry. But he said basically, should we change that query because we were thinking about just like doing a paging, like just do half and then do the other half, which is a normal concept in technology. But I'm like, as an architect, I say like, you can do paging once we confirmed basically that there's nothing else to do, but we should first find the culprit if there's anything else. So they wanted to do basically a workaround, and I said like, let me check that. And long story short, he said with the help of you, we like the problem was the query was taking 26 seconds and now it takes half a second. So and that was just great to see. And it's just like I notice like the more I go out, and this is basically it all comes down to the marketing end of day, which I don't like doing. I would love people to just come to my place and say like, David, you're the best. That doesn't happen. No. You have to be visible. I don't like it. I still try to embrace it. So maybe you can relate with that, you guys here in the call, because I heard from some people like, I don't like marketing. I don't like it either. But there's that sentence, if you got the greatest product and no one knows it, then who's gonna pay for it? So so long story short, I'm quite motivated, so that's cool. But again, I don't have kids, so I'm in a
I like that you're feeling guilty about that. Like you're like,
I'm not feeling guilty. I'm not feeling guilty. It's just like some people say the wrong things in the internet. They say like, just get up earlier, and like, I have kids, then just I don't know, like take less care of the kids or something like that. I'm not like that. So
it's there's no one size fits all. Advice. And then advice. You want to get it from as diverse a pool as possible from different backgrounds, expertise, and all of that, and then you're the one who's going to make the decision at the end of the day. So it's just about collecting as much, widening the. There's a fantastic concept from a book called Crucial Conversations, and they talk about group IQ, and they're like, the leader's job, the CEO's job is not to just think and make decisions. The CEO's job is to collect as many different opinions as possible to make this group IQ bigger, because when you have everybody thinking the same way, you're not expanding the kind of thinking pool. So good decision making is about collecting as many different opinions as you can, or are creative enough to acquire, and then making a decision based on that. So every opinion counts. So you don't have to apologize for not having kids. So but I love it. I love it, Dave. But you should definitely have these results somewhere, because those results, taking down a query from 24 seconds to half a second, that's a fact that will sell somebody. It's not like a promise. Oh, I'll make it faster. Who cares?
No, exactly. And that's a big takeaway for everybody. Basically, is like in the path of my career in a 9 to 5 job, like I've been growing a lot. And for me in the interview, it was rather easy. Like I think I got every single. No, I didn't get one, but that was more like on a we didn't like each other thing. So and there was one only when was it? I don't remember. I think it was about when I was doing the interview with Amazon. And this was the first time I noticed that they would actually like to see numbers. It's not just like I worked in Next.js and I'm pretty good at it, like they like numbers, and it really makes sense if you can say like I scaled the team and I made from I don't know, I led a team of 10 people and I actually scaled I led a migration from making it faster from X to whatever. And those numbers is something every one of you actually should note down whenever you have a success that can be put into numbers, even if it's your own, doesn't have to be for a client. Note it down, because else you're gonna forget it.
100%. Yeah, you'll forget it, and it's such a waste. Do you have any questions for the community? Or should we move to the discussion?
No, just move.
Yeah. All right, guys. So directories, has anybody used them, and do they actually matter?
I just want to add some thoughts. Like I was thinking of, it's easier to sell yourself when people get to you and you position yourself as an expert when they ask your help. When you try to offer your help, like cold outreach, it's way difficult for me, especially because you have to figure out how you can help them, what problem they have, something like that. But when they came to you, they already know that you know how to solve their problems, and I don't know how to change this mind or this information.
It's about showcasing, like kind of how David opened up. He's like, you gotta market yourself. You gotta like, David, offered this 15-minute phone call. I always tell him that he should also post those 15-minute phone calls, not just offer them. But the more you put yourself out there, your messages, your results, not promises. Everybody can make a promise. Like, everybody can say, oh, I can make your database run faster. I'm a professional. I'm whatever. Those are not truths, because they're not anchored in facts, But if you show a video of you consulting someone, and the solution and maybe the caption for the video is the result, in this phone call, we took down the query from 25 seconds to half a second, and they see the video and see you in action, they're sold. They're going to pick up the phone and be like, hey, Alex, help me out. This is kind of like if I had a landing page service, what I'm doing is good marketing for that. I don't have that, but the example is what I'm trying to say. Like, even if you don't have clients, like you're like, well, I don't have consulting calls that I can talk to for 15 minutes. And then I'm like, okay, but what can you show people, demonstrate publicly, and commit to it, do a lot of it, that people can see and be like, yep, he's the guy for my job. So that's how you create inbound, is having a lot of those examples and pushing a lot of it. you know, with quantity. It's not once a day or once a week or once a month. It's 3 times, you know, like in my like Feedback Friday thing. Sometimes I do 60 videos, you know, it's not like one video. And then every day I do a startup review, you know. So this is kind of like, I do it to kind of show people this is the kind of volume it takes to break through, you know. It's not just a little bit, you know, you got to do a lot of it.
That's the thing. That's the thing. And that is what people like often, very often don't see. Like I've been probably for like 15 years, I've been asking myself, how am I doing all of these things for other people? And like no one even appreciates it. Like no one sees it. And why would they? They were in the employment status, so to say, in a company. Why would they like put me out there and like tell David is a great guy? Why? So you got to do it yourself, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. I'd be lying if I said anything else. Because I got like, for example, let me give you one example. That was like super depressing, but it shouldn't stop you. It's like I've written a book. Probably not everybody knows, but I've written a book about Supabase, basically the Supabase Bible, so to say. And I was literally giving it away for free, both on Twitter and on LinkedIn. But first, I tried on LinkedIn. Like, no one. Sorry, no one wanted it. But probably not because there's no people that want it, because on Twitter basically everybody wanted it.
Was it free?
But yeah, it was free.
No, he's saying because it was free, nobody wanted it.
Oh no. It was not because it was free. I actually said like I'll sign it, and on Twitter this exploded, like it went viral. And on LinkedIn where I did it first, it was also like not a lot of views. I'm not so good in LinkedIn, but I'm just saying like I gave it away for free. Someone must have seen it, like no one reacted. So what I'm saying is like the fact that I'm not so good at LinkedIn just and like I'm giving something away that's priced, at least here in Germany, it's priced $40, right? That's a lot of money, and I have to pay that. It's not like I get that for free. And it's depressing. That's all what I'm saying. Like you'll be posting stuff that no one fucking sees over and over again. Probably the same for Saeed. I'm not sure.
Yep, Feedback Friday, the first 9 or 10. And by the way, before it was Feedback Friday, I used to do it like every 3 days. And one person would post their landing page, you know, and like it. You know, nobody would like the message. Nobody would repost it. Nobody like it took so many times for it to get to the point where people not only know there's value there, but they trust me now because they've seen me post every week for the last 21 weeks. Every Friday, they can count on me to come, and it creates this trust. And
that's true. But what I'm asking is, do you still experience like posting stuff which you think is valuable, but basically merely anyone sees it?
There's so many factors. There's so many factors that affect it. Timing affects it. You know, sometimes the same idea sequence differently in the way you phrase it creates all the difference in the traction it gains. So there's so many factors that the people get the consistency part wrong because they think if I just show up and do the same thing every day, I'm gonna get a result, and that's not correct. You're just gonna be wasting your time, really. What you want to do is experiment with different style posts, different, you know, maybe I try a meme, maybe I do videos, maybe in the videos, and you gotta commit to a format. Like for me, I was like, in the beginning of the year before I started Twitter, I'm like, and by the end of this year, I want to be a really good writer of short forms. That was my goal. And I committed to writing a short form post 3 times a day. And I test it out. I'm like, oh, what happens if I do a small thing? What happens if I do a paragraph? What happens if I do this? If the first four words contain this, and I have all these experiments based on my learning, right? And everything matters. Everything matters. People kind of look at, people like Kiri. They're like, oh my God, he just came in and just blew up, and why can't I have that? And it's like, you can't do that. You gotta understand how things work and experiment with your store. Here has been developing. He has a fantastic app. Like if you go see the clipboard manager, it looks beautiful. And he came in and he shared the story and shared it in the right place. Like you're saying, you're like, I shared it on LinkedIn. That market didn't care. But the market that you were accessing on Twitter cared a lot. And sometimes who you're showing to matters. So it's a lot of factors, and you gotta commit and spread. Like, if you're not, like for me, before I was on Twitter, I was on Instagram, I was on LinkedIn, nobody cared about what I had to say. So but I didn't make that determination 3 weeks in. I spent 8 months posting every day on Instagram to realize, hey, nobody on Instagram cares about this. Then I switched. Maybe I could have switched 4 months in, but you gotta remove do they trust me to deliver this consistently? Because a lot of times people just don't trust new people. They're like, he's gonna quit. So you got to get past that he's gonna quit, stage, and trust them for for example, let's say you're like, oh, 15-minute free call. In the beginning, nobody's gonna trust me. Like, he's gonna keep doing that, or maybe I'll do it in 3 months. And there's different cycles, right? Like, oh, he's doing 15 minutes calls, great. And then you stop doing it, and they're like, oh, wait a minute, I wanted to do 15-minute calls with Dave. Why did he take it off? They're not gonna come and DM you and be like, hey, Dave, what? They're just gonna be like, oh, Dave is not reliable. See you later. So there's so many things that matter, that the only thing you can bet on is same thing as Dave said, that commitment, the conviction that this is what I'm about and this is what I'm going to be about for the next year consistently, for everybody that wants to follow me or doesn't want to follow me, doesn't matter.
Yeah, and just one last thing, what I wanted to point out is that, like, even Saeed, like, to me, like in the bubble, like he appears a lot, I would assume. Like, I'm just now checking your profile, not all of your posts show, but like I would say like 50%, maybe 30%. I don't know, whatever. But you also, you have like some that are in the thousands, but you also have like 100 views, which is not a lot. But the thing is the commitment. Like, what I was trying to express is deal somewhat with disappointment every day, because there's going to be posts that you'll love, like I did, and they'll just not work.
Mm-hmm.
But
Absolutely,
you still got to do it.
100%. Yeah, it's the commitment, it's the love of it. You gotta prove it to yourself first with the long-term, commitment. But it looks like nobody here has submitted anything to directories. What's going on? It sounded like a good topic. My 2 cents on it is that SEO in general, anything you do for SEO takes 6 months at least to see. Like, realistically, like, it kind of lines up with what we've been talking about. It's if you're gonna work on SEO, definitely you have to hit it kind of with precision. But all of these directories help that SEO, and you're not gonna see immediate results. It's not like launching on Product Hunt.
But the question is more, do they help, like when you list something on directories? Because I got sort of limited experience with SEO. I purchased a website, a directory website, a couple of years ago that has domain rating 47, but it's like Australia-wide directory. So when you do adjustments to it, it definitely takes like 6 months to 1 year. But if you post something on niche topics, you got ranking in couple of weeks time, couple of weeks to 1 month.
Yeah, well, the domain authorities kind of Ahrefs created that. You know, it's not, you can hack that system. So that's not how you should think about authority. The way you should think about authority is, do people actually use this directory?
No, like people do use in that case. So I grew it from 5,000 visitors a month to 20, and now like another iteration to scaling it another 10 times. But the thing is, like, I'm more interested in newer projects, like you launch your SaaS or whatever. So if you create these links, will they eventually work or will they hurt you? So that's sort
It
of
depends on the directory. If it's a scammy directory, like if they're doing things that Google are gonna be like, this is a scam, they are bad actors, they are gaming the system, whatever, and they're gonna knock it, you're not gonna get any SEO juice from that bad actor directory. But if the directory is doing everything right, they're actually building real authority and people trust them to do the job, and you list with them, yeah, it does create visibility and it does do all of that. From my understanding, but that's why I wanted to open it up, because
But
has anybody?
Yeah.
isn't it something Jarek would be the best man, maybe?
Jarek is not an SEO guy. Jarek is an ad guy.
Doesn't
Actually,
that
yeah.
doesn't that intertwine somehow?
It intertwines, but a little.
Yeah,
They
Jarek.
complement each other.
Jarek, my man, what do you got?
Yeah. I mean, like SEO, I believe in SEO, right? But I just do not have the patience to wait, like, months on ends. SEO, I believe, like, right now, I would do like TikTok short form content, right? Because since they're indexing on Google, you can repurpose that video on YouTube Shorts, IG Reels. Then, in terms of SEO, really, I do not know what to expect of SEO, to be honest. I've worked with SEO agencies before. God damn, dude! Like the results come in 6 months. Then what? I don't even have money to eat bread for the first 5 months. What is SEO gonna do for me?
That's awesome, bro. Yeah, yeah. I just posted my friend Oliver Fish. He's crazy. Like, he tells me stories that I can't share.
Yeah.
But he's done some magical work with SEO, and he's offering consulting right now for $50. It's like a steal. It's on my profile. I reposted his post. But if anybody needs any SEO help, definitely go talk to Oliver Fish. Book a call with him, because he literally told me, he's like, oh, there are SEO plays that won't work until 20 years. I'm like, oh, god damn. Like, the patience bro has is insane, so like, yeah, SEO, directories, all of this stuff. I wish Ollie was here on the call to kind of share his perspective, but sounds like it's a dark art, and it's one of those things where the feedback cycle is so long that it's very hard to learn properly.
What's the guy's name? Where to find
Oliver
him,
Fish.
you said?
At Oliver Fish. Yeah, I posted it here. Yeah, Oliver Fish. So it's _Oliver_Fish. But yeah, guys, appreciate everybody showing up. Jarek, you didn't say much.
Yeah.
Do you have anything you want to wrap up with?
Not to wrap up, right? I got a question, right? Open to all. It's mobile app or web app for consumer, B2C consumer apps, right? So it's a very open question. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
it's I like, for B2C, like what is the C exactly? Like, how old is the C?
Consumers, I mean, like how old Well, it really depends on the product that we are creating, right? Like if let's say I'm creating for people with arthritis, then clearly it's older people. But more importantly, it's when do we decide to develop a mobile app, or should we just, you know what, fuck it, no mobile app. I'm gonna stick to PWA. I'm gonna educate, potential customers on how to use a PWA like a native mobile app. So, yeah, I'm just curious, right? Like weighing the pros and cons, like how much those app stores are taking in terms of commission. Guys, anybody have anything like mobile
Well,
app?
my
Yeah,
quick
yeah,
response is like I make this example a lot, like with music, for example.
yeah.
Let's say you're selling a song. The people listening to your song on SoundCloud are different than the people listening to your songs on Spotify. They're different than the people listening to your song on Apple Music. So the actual channel that people use is totally different markets,
Mm-hmm.
So it's when you say web app or mobile, my intuition goes there is that the people who are going to use the web app are not the same people who are going to use the mobile app. They're not the same people who are going to use maybe like a desktop app. So it's about who do you hit first is where I would go with this, is like who is the quickest to validate with. Will it be the people using mobile apps? Will it be the people using web apps? And build that first, and then definitely build both with time. Is
Mm-hmm.
is my intuition on this. Does it sound convincing or not?
I don't know. Like I'm just opening up, right? Hearing all what everyone has. Anybody has an input, right?
Yeah. And with your stuff, because it's financial data, it seems like security concern must also be part of your consideration between web app or store.
Yeah.
Because you had this idea where like, hey, people are going to input using screenshots, right?
Yeah.
But is that the easiest way, or is the easiest way just connecting, like linking up your Bank of
Yeah.
America or whatever? So does anybody have input for Jarek?
Sorry, I didn't get the screenshot part, but like, is it
Oh, you
still the
weren't here.
question?
So yeah.
Oh, okay.
So Jarek's, do you remember the Jarek's idea about the finance,
Yeah.
like personal finance thing?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
last week he was like trying to think about how people are going to input their financial data.
I see.
And then he had this idea of like, hey, maybe they take pictures and then using visual machine learning that they can extract it and kind of auto update it. And I'm thinking maybe there's like security risks to do it through a web app. What are your thoughts there?
Well, okay. So first of all, if you can't make up the security in a web app, you can't make it up in an app, vice versa. That's the architectural
Okay.
answer here, because I mean, best sample is the other way around. This weird tiny rabbit thing. What was it called? Like rabbit?
Oh
Rabbit
yeah,
something.
R1.
Yeah, I think. And they just thought like, because it's fucking compiled, they can put the API keys in there. So someone just like decompiled it. It's ridiculous. But anyways, yeah, I wouldn't put it on security matters. Rather like, does it help you in the lead sense somewhat? And if yes, how? And what do you do about the 30%? I'm not so much into this topic. I've been there starting this year, I think, or last year for my client. And I think what we found is that if you go native, yes, you aren't allowed to kind of like promote your own payment, but as far as I know, you have to look that up. You can say something like you don't have premium somewhat, or you don't have paid, so you can't access it. So please log in. So not buy, but please log in on the web page. And then basically it goes forward to the web page, and then it goes like you have to pay, and then it goes back. So this is something you can do. It's not the most convenient thing, but yeah. In my experience, I do love PWAs. I've been using them when people didn't even know they were even existent. So, but that worked for a client because the client wanted a specific app, and the client then did know how to use that app. The problem that I'm seeing with PWAs is that in the real world, Apple just like there's a reason it doesn't say in bold, hey, would you like to add this as an app? I don't think that's a mistake. They just don't want it. So they just hide it and then just say like add to start screen or something like that, and then nobody knows what it is. So long story short, I think with regards to leads conversion, you're better off with the native app, I'd say.
Okay. Nice.
Yes, Dave, what is the trade-off? Like if someone came to you and was like, "Hey, I'm thinking of either doing a PWA or a native app," is the trade-off just the 30%, or would you think of anything else?
Well, the trade-off is if you have both, basically, if you want to definitely do both, like the desktop one and the app one, the trade-off is always like you have to maintain two things. Then there is something that allows to maintain that easier, which is something like, for example, you can either go the Flutter way but Flutter is very specific. So this is why I don't like Flutter. And this is again different. Like it's not my opinion that I think Flutter is bad, not at all. I just don't like learning something completely new that is like it isn't even proprietary. It's just so unique that I don't like to learn it. But it's great. Like people that use it find it great because it can output for the web, it can output for even a desktop app, and it can output for your native app. So you can use that. That's great. That's one solution. What we actually right now are doing is we're working for a corporate company, and we're building a web app completely, like for internal management. And then we have an external company that just puts it into what's it called, that wrapper? There's some kind of wrapper that basically puts the web app into a native app.
Like React Native or NativeScript?
Yeah, but it's different because you're basically taking anything. It's just like as if the browser would run like an iframe.
It's like a wrapper then.
Yeah, it's like an iframe, in very simple words, like something that just loads the web page.
Yeah.
And they do that, and that's a rather cheap thing to do. So there's multiple solutions, but that's a rather cheap thing to do. So if you want to build on the web app only, you can build that wrapper. It's easy to find on Google. I don't know the name.
But you're saying just the trade-off is if you're gonna do it full on both ways, it's like double the maintenance.
It's double the work. Yeah. So that's
Actually,
why you gotta go somewhere in between with either the wrapper or with Flutter or something.
I'll be right back, guys. Yeah, but definitely keep going here.
On your expertise, if you have experience with the native app and you have Android dev and Apple dev, I would stick with two different applications if you have time and experience. If you don't have, I think there's something like React Native, Flutter, or other wrappers would be better just for the beginning. And when you get your first feedback, or when you need some kind of device-specific features like gyroscope or accelerometer or something like that, then you can implement these features. Actually, I would stick with React Native because yeah, it's great. It's great. It works almost everywhere. But as I remember, you Jarek said that your main audience is Android users, not Apple users, or something changed.
No, we have both, but yeah, we just have both. Correct. But the market we are targeting, like the number of Android users are like 80%, 78%, you know. We don't want to miss out on this Android users.
But you have web users, do you?
Yeah, right, because we launched our MVP as a Google Sheet template. So they're all web users. So now we are like coming into developing an app. So that's why like, hey man, should we do PWA? Should we do mobile app?
Ah, so you're in the decision-making process of doing it. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what are you leaning towards right now, Jeff?
We lean towards like React Native to be able to push out to iOS and Android, right? And because we think like Apple or Google Play Store has like a certain trust factor to it, rather than people wanting to pull their credit card out for PWA. I might be wrong, right? Because there are guys like Jenny AI. There are other tons of guys who does PWA doing very high MRR. So I don't know, man.
It is kind of interesting approach because you're right. Then you know the ease of just saying buy now from the App Store or the Play Store is definitely less friction. You know, so I don't think you're wrong there.
No, but then go with yeah, if you're in that process, I was speaking from a perspective of you already have a web app that's working and then it's actually easy. Again, I want to point out we are doing that and we're using device specific features. First of all, the things that you mentioned, Alex, like gyroscope and stuff like that, there's way more available on the web than you know. Probably this like gyroscope and everything like accelerometer are even available on web APIs. So you wouldn't even need device access for that. But we are using device access such as Face ID even with our web app, because that company just like every feature, like it's like an interface, you know, there's like the browser running, and when we need Face ID, it just triggers that. It's not so hard, but again, as you're not in the state of where we're primarily building a web application and then want to also put it into a native application container. In your case, I would agree with React Native. Even more so, I would in your case, check out expo.dev. It is based on React Native, so it's using React Native, but it is a little bit like Next.js for React Native, as it allows for even faster development.
Nice. So you can kind of also export to web app, because like
I'm not sure if you can export to web app, but it has like these. I think you can, but I'm not sure. But it has those like routing features and stuff like that. So React Native in itself doesn't have anything like routing. You would have to do it on your own. So and Expo basically is the Next.js for native development, because then you just like create the files and you get routing and everything.
Nice. But yeah, Jarek, I would think about the music thing again. Like, you know, like I would say, hey, people, the market in the App Store and the market in the Play Store can get the 30%. You know, that's kind of the what you need to pay to kind of acquire from those markets. But I would also have the same price, you know, as a web app, you know, and the people that you kind of acquire with ads and your own marketing efforts, like push to the web app, and then you just unlock, you know, you know, Dave said you can just sign in when you download the native app. You know, because why, if you can do all of the stuff, because the incremental cost versus the lost opportunity sounds like it's a no-brainer to do all three, you know, especially if you find that, because React Native should, I think you should be able to also adapt it to a web app where you kind of, maybe it's not 3 times the load, it's, you know, maybe 1.2 times if you add the thing. So
that's true, but you have to, it's a complicated statement, because if someone doesn't know what to exactly do, it's not just 1.2 times the effort. Because, for example, that is why React developed, I always forget the name, I think it's not style.jsx, because that's something different, that's something from Next.js. It's called, I think, StyleX or StyledX, which tries to bridge the gap between sorry, my mom's calling. Which tries to bridge the gap between the CSS in the web and the styles in the native version. But again, I think, I'm not sure, but I think Expo solves that. I just found like let me send it a link. I just found a link where it also says like publish with Expo on the web. So it could be that that's one size fits it all. I haven't tried it in the last time, so, but there's docs. I just posted it.
Yeah, Jarek, I would think about it this, like how, you know, that you're just accessing different markets, and some markets just cost more to access. You know, if you're getting them from scratch from the App Store, or getting them from scratch from the Play Store, you're now kind of forced to pay the 30% or whatever, 20%. I don't know what the new fees are, but having the web app and pushing all your kind of like your side marketing efforts, like your ads, pushing all of that to the web app so you can capture the 30%, you know, is kind of the move. That, what are your thoughts?
I don't know. Like, my thoughts lies more in, you know, like our daily life, right? Do we download app? Do we go to App Store and download apps, or do we go to website to, you know, save icon to home screen? The very natural.
No, we go to websites and click on the download from App Store button.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, if that's the case, then yeah, I'll just need to build a landing page, redirect them to App Store, right? Rather than build, you know, a web app where they could like save it as an icon to home screen and all. Since that's the most natural.
Yeah, the
user
icon to
flow.
home screen, I don't think anybody does that. I think I think people want the app. You know, like if there is an app, you know, especially because it's like personal finance, you know, and you know, you kind of build that relationship through that button, right? And you don't want it to feel like a second hand experience that you go in and then it's like still you're using a browser, right? You want it to feel personal because it's personal finance. So I think the app part definitely, but I also think that there needs to be that experience on the web too, not in terms of download the icon. I think like like for example, I'm gonna just think about it as like a bank account, right? Like my Bank of America. I can do all the stuff online, but there's also an app that kind of feels like an app. It's a native app, and I do everything through there, and I have the option. You know what I mean?
But yeah, but again, I don't have latest Expo experience, but I've seen all people talk about it. That's why I mentioned it. And it's like, don't just use React Native. That's a definitive thing that I can tell you, because then you have to also build like the window management and stuff like that, like the opening the stuff on top of other stuff for yourself. So you wouldn't make yourself happy with just using basically raw React Native.
Yeah, this is kind of where the you get what you pay for kind of thing. Like if you try to get a developer that is, you know, you're trying to save money on, you know, they're gonna build a product that's gonna be just a headache to maintain in the future. Whereas if you maybe spend more, that somebody maybe has Expo experience, and has examples of, you know, an app working natively in Android and on iOS and on the web, and you can see it and you can test and you can be like, yeah, hell yeah, let's go. And they
Yeah, and it's
might be able to,
faster. So if you
yeah.
get someone that has expo experience, which I'm not, just saying, um, then then it's gonna be like a person that just knows what to consider, and also like probably what to consider like about the strictness of the App Store, because it's not guaranteed that they will approve your app. So even that can come in handy.
So what was it called? XPO? No, XEX.
Oh, I posted the link in the chat, so you can just
Yeah.
check it out.
Yeah, Expo, EXPO.
Okay.
.dev.
Yeah. So sorry guys, I gotta leave. It was a long but very, very great talk. So
Absolutely, yeah.
yes.
Great to have you there.
Have a
Appreciate
great day
it.
still. Bye bye.
You too. Take care. Oh man. And then there was 3.
Then there was 3.
No, I love it. No, it's a very tough thing to consider, right? Because it's, you know, it's like you want to validate, but you also don't want to shoot yourself in the foot. And it's like, I get the pain, you know, you're feeling, you know, it's just, since you are generating cash, you know, and you kind of have the cash to spend, I would try to do it right from the first, because you also have the experience of getting a developer that almost flakes out. What happened to that? Did he flake out at the end, or?
Man, okay, so the developer, like, it's an MVP, right? So the whole idea is it came, then we kind of have an idea, right? More along the line, like, hey, you know, there's an existing app. Are you able to clone this? Which could reduce that, right? Then we did not provide the Figma file. I mean, that's on our end as well. But then when it comes to an MVP, we realize like, oh, there's a lot of it doesn't quite live up to the expectations, right? When we first set off on the agreement, which is you can clone it, cool. But then I didn't expect like, oh, it's not production grade, you know, it's
You can just make it look the same, but not deploy it the same.
Yeah. And this is something that non-technical like myself come in and I realize like, oh no, I just lost 1 month, you know.
Yeah.
I never do. I thought like, oh, it's so easy as, can I clone it? Yes, cool, let's go. Then, oh no.
Yeah, it's you know, people are asking about you. They're like, "What's the name of that? What's the handle of that Gerald guy on the phone call?" Because I built the product he was talking about.
Which product?
Our last call when you were talking about the co-founder.
Oh yeah,
marketplace.
Yeah, man. I really think like it's a huge opportunity, right? Like Alex wasn't here like last week, right? The call. And earlier on I heard someone was saying about the same, almost something similar, or even you chimed in. It's provide 10. Oh no, which is Alex, right? Alex, like if I could like get 10 developers, push out recommendation. And it seems to be the same problem that keeps on happening, you know, like non-technical founders trying to find technical developers, and technical developers is trying hard to push out to marketing, right? So there's this problem that I think
some guy called Daniel DM'd me. He was like, "Hey, I built this product. What's the handle of Jared?" I sent him. I know you don't check your stuff, but bro, but you gotta pay a little more for like, because like you said, people can clone stuff for you and whatever, but when it comes to development grade, production grade stuff, you know, it's gonna cost more. Like Levi, for example, he's like, "Hey, I'll help you with that stuff." Levi has deployed, you know, his thing. You know, he's even created a thing where you self-host, which is more difficult, and like at that point, you do want to hire people who have the experience of production, not just building an app like a project app, that looks like something, because all of these considerations in the future, like building something so that you can add stuff to it in the future, you can modify, you can do all this is all takes so much work up front to make it adaptable in the future, that if you pay just anybody to do it, he's gonna probably pump some, something that looks good, but the underlying stuff is just complete bullshit.
So how do we know as a non-technical, like, it's not complete bullshit underneath the hood?
I think it's the deployment. You have to be like, hey, where is this deployed? Like they have to have like similar example, like for example, when we were just talking about Expo, right? Let's say you're gonna go and find an Expo developer, and you find someone, and you gotta ask him, hey, what have you deployed? What, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Show me an example of your work, multiple examples of your work. Can I talk to your past clients? Give me their numbers. Because if they're the real deal, they'll give you all the numbers. They'll be like, hey, talk to anybody you want. You know what I mean? And it's that vetting process, is so important in hiring, and it has to be based on results, not on promises and showmanship.
Yeah. But
yeah.
Oh well, it's a good lesson learned, like.
Yeah, but definitely don't get discouraged. Like I went through the same thing. Like the first business I wanted to launch, I had no technical background. Like I knew nothing, and I just hired whatever game development agency, and it was complete crap. And it's like I'm never doing that ever again. And the lesson I learned, was to learn the skills myself. But since I've worked with so many people, and like kind of advise them on how to hire and whatever, hiring has to be based on results, proven results, not promises, not portfolio projects. It's what have you delivered and what were the results, and if they can show you the results, stick by the results, and are happy to share their past clients, happy to share, their credibility, then, they're kind of the real deal,
Got you.
Yeah, bro. But yeah, bro, I appreciate you showing up every week, giving us some strong discussion points. It's very helpful. Yeah.
Oh, because I need it for myself,
Hell yeah.
And
no,
I don't have the answer. So
Mhm.
so I needed to like, hey, where are my nerdy techie guys at? Oh, every Friday.
Yeah.
So I'm like, here. But like you say, to your point, which is like, if you host it every 3 days, like I would much better than that, because sometimes I would look forward to it. God damn it, it's Friday soon. Like, yeah, I would jump into your call, like, just to hear what others have to say.
Yeah, I appreciate it, bro. I'm trying to think of maybe doing it a different day, because Friday sounds like it's not good for people, and the time also is, some people it's just like a lot of people showed up at like 12 midnight, but then they kind of have to leave because they can't stay up to 2 a.m. So I don't know. What is Saturday a better day for people?
No, I have a son. Like, not for me. Alex?
For me, Friday is amazing.
Yeah.
Actually, I would stick to any day, because when I realized that we have these meetings every Friday, I forced myself to be prepared to every call. And
Awesome.
today, as I said earlier, yeah, I finished almost everything, because I have to tell you what I've done since the last call. It's amazing for me. It's like a sprint in Scrum or Agile methodology. It works well for me. I'm highly motivated because I have to tell you something. You like my mentor. It's amazing experience for me. So yeah, Friday for me is great. If you would like to try another day, it's okay. For me, even Monday.
Well, this is not my full-time job. That's why I try to keep it all on Friday.
Yeah.
Because I do Feedback Friday, and it's kind of the day I dedicate to the community. So I'm like, let me just do it on Friday, and it's convenient for me. It's noon Friday, so like that's why I do it. And like you said, I like it every week, same time, because and you can prepare, and there's like this kind of continuity. But like a lot of people are complaining, they're like, "Oh, I got a job and whatever," and I did it on noon in America because you got an hour lunch break, you can sneak out or something.
For me, it's 8 p.m. Friday. It's amazing time because I can smoke shisha, I can eat my food, and I can talk to you. It's amazing. It's amazing Friday evening. Every Friday evening.
I'm gonna keep it Friday.
Hey, I've got a suggestion, right? Like, since you're saying like the Scrum method, right, Alex, with the call and people wanting different days. What do you think about like, okay, what is it? Feedback Friday, but it's designed for like specific categories, right? It could be a Wednesday, like, marketing Monday, or tech Thursday or whatnot. So anybody who comes to a call, they know like it's questions or topic revolving around that particular department. Is it department topic? I don't know.
Yeah. I know what you're saying, like business process or like business. Everybody's losing their mind. Like, I know what you're saying, but it would be great, bro. Like if I can run it like that, like a full-time job, I'd definitely do that. Like you're saying, like marketing Mondays, and tech Tuesdays, and HR Wednesdays.
You know what's gonna be on Friday development. People would argue like TypeScript versus JavaScript, Next.js against React.js, Flutter against React Native. It will be holy war for sure. Developers like to argue for no reason.
But you got to commit to it. That's the thing. Like, anybody who's doing any of this stuff, like we were talking earlier in this call, you got to commit to it. In the beginning, no one's going to show up, but you got to just keep showing up, and then people are going to be like, oh, well, I heard about this. I've seen it the last 3 weeks. I've seen it the last 4 weeks. Let me join, and see what's going on. So you got to commit to it for it to work, and then also when people start showing up, it has to be entertaining too. Like, I try my best to kind of keep things like storyline and then open it up and whatever. A lot of these spaces, you join Twitter spaces and it's just people talking forever. There's no point, there's no direction, so it's all, nothing is easy. But yeah, no, for sure, Joe. If I didn't have shit to do,
right.
I would dedicate every day to the community, but I can't.
Man, you should get a couple of moderators,
Yeah, now it's like a hiring job, I gotta find good people that know how to facilitate and all of that, but if someone has an idea and wants to do it, I'll promote it for sure.
Do this like I mean, if people truly find value, like I think you should be able to monetize it for your time, then eventually like providing value and make it your living, right? Because like you said, your time is a commodity, and since this is non-paying and takes up from your personal time, I totally agree, man. It doesn't make sense to like provide so much value and like fuck, I can't pay my bills,
Yeah, and it's not scalable too, bro. Like, and I have a problem with these communities that charge money, and it's like, I understand that some people need to do it and some people are good at it and all that, but there's more upside in other things. That's why I'm not dedicated, here, because like the potential upside to this is not that big. Even if I dedicate every day and build it and make it big and charge money and all that, it's still the upside is not as big as the other ideas.
Which led me to ask, I got a few questions. One thing I've seen apps, right? Any platform, some apps are like they have a lot of features, like a Swiss Army knife, And there are some apps that is so simple, maybe 3 features tops. What are both of you guys the take? Like, should we descope and make it as 3 features, but fucking good 3 features, right?
I've been very vocal about this, and I think in the beginning, the common wisdom is make 1 feature or 2 features or 3 features, right, and test it out and see if it works, But I'm not a big fan of that, because the whole problem of product market fit is you don't know what's going to work in the market. So you kind of saying, oh, these 3 features are going to work, and then spend time building those 3 features, and then you kind of launch it and get feedback and nobody loves it. And that is all a cycle time, right? So my advice is find a bunch of markets, like whatever, 5 or 6, 7 markets, and then kind of find the threads that tie them all together, and build something that can hit 7 markets, maybe with 5 features. So it's not 1,000 Swiss features like Swiss Army knife style, but you want to test a bunch of hypotheses at one time. You don't want to test one at a time, because the feedback cycle is just too long for you to think you can hit it with one thing. So you start with like 5 features that can solve 5 different markets problems, and then based on that feedback you reduce, you kind of focus it, you make it more specialized, and then once that simplification process gets lift off, then you can start adding features again. So it's kind of I have a nuanced approach on this, but the typical thing they're going to tell you, do a micro thing. If it gets traction, add more to it. But I just don't think that's good advice. Like it sounds good theoretically, but there's no historical proof that this is a good idea. Every big app of, and I'm talking million, like $100 million, $1 billion apps, not indie hackers making $5,000 a month or $10,000 a month. That I'm not interested in that at all. But any huge, like Instagram, for example. Instagram was an app to share bourbon locations, like alcohol, and it had image sharing in it. But if you think about it, lean, you just do the feature you want, it would have just been, I'm in this location and this is the bourbon, and that's it, They created the flexibility for it to become an image sharing thing, and that kind of flexibility to hit multiple markets at the same time is kind of what you need to be thinking about. Like, for example, when you're like, personal finance, you think of the use cases, right? Who cares about personal finance? Well, parents, families, and then there's couples, and then there's accountants, and then there's whatever, a 4th use case. And then you're like, what is the product that can serve all these people in the simplest way I can create? And then you do that, and then you launch it in all those markets, and you see which one of those markets likes it the best. It turns out, families that have kids, and they like it, great, let me just go in that direction. And then you start having conversations with these people. What do you like about this? What you don't like about this? And based on that intelligence, you kind of upgrade the product in that direction.
Yeah, I think it's not about delivering 7 different features. It's about having one that covers 7 different segments. Or because of course it depends on the kind of application you'd like to build. If you want to build a financial report, the core feature is financial report, and you can send to 7 different type of customers, ICP, and all of them can use your only one feature, the customer report. It can have, I don't know, simple interface, the same button, but I don't know how. Fuck my English.
It's okay.
I'm saying I'm disagreeing with that. It's not one feature, because like same thing. Like, let's take your example, right? You're saying I'm building a product for founders to test their MVPs, and it creates a report. And that's it. And if it doesn't work, now you've spent all this time trying to validate this report thing. But let's say you've built 4 tools to validate an MVP. There's a report, there's 3 other things. There's a calculator, there's a whatever, and there's a
it's my goal.
But I'm saying you doing it the way you're doing it right now is going to take way longer for you to validate which idea is the winning one. But if you launch 4 features at a time, all the report, then there's a calculator, then there's a ICP creator, and then there's whatever, and you launch that as a package. Hey, these are the 3 main core features, or these are the 4 core features. Maybe one of the 3 gets traction, and then now you can spend your resources saying, okay, I'm going to delete these other 2 and focus on this one, relaunch it as a new idea, and now you have more traction in the right direction.
Yeah, it sounds great, but in reality, if you work alone as solopreneur or indie hacker, you don't have so much time to build.
That sounds like an excuse to me. That just sounds like an excuse. Like, it's not my problem you're an indie hacker. As a customer, I don't care you're an indie hacker.
No. I don't mean. I'm saying like as a developer, it's much complicated to deliver 25 features, then deliver the first one, and then add
no one's saying
features.
25. You're now exaggerating to prove a point. I'm saying 3 or 4. Like I've had this debate many times, and I know all the ways people try to break it down. But
3, 4 is fine, but the Swiss knife, it's about 25 features at once.
I know, but there's a medium. There's a happy medium that people are not exploring, and I think it's to their detriment. So it's not 25 features, but it's not 1. And well, indie hackers don't have time. As a customer, I don't care. Maybe some indie hackers do the 1 and they get lucky.
Yeah.
But then there's like that, hindsight bias, or like, survivorship bias, where it's like you're getting advice from people who were lucky with their 1 feature. And it's like you want to increase that luck surface area, and the way to do that is not by launching 1 at a time. It's by launching 4, 5, 3 at a time, and then getting the feedback on those 4, 5 things. And no feedback is feedback, right? Like if you launch 3 things and people only use the 1 thing, then the 2 things suck, and you just focus on the 1 thing.
It's kind of different, because having 3 different small applications is not the same like having one application with 3 features. It's I don't know how to explain. What for example, the indie hackers, they try to launch as many applications as they can, like 52 applications a year, like 1 app a week, and they try to find the only 1 idea that will blow up. But
I know, but I'm saying that's not a good approach to building a business, is what I'm trying to say, because your job as an entrepreneur or a businessman, is to create a customer and then keep a customer. It's not to create features or products or whatever. You want to find somebody who's willing to pay money, for whatever you're offering, and it can be a package. Most of the time, it's a package. It's very rarely 1 thing. Like you're saying, it's like you have that 1 report, right? And it's just too slow. You got to test multiple hypotheses. Like, don't think about it as features or products. Think about it as hypotheses, right? I think customers want a strategic report created by AI. That's your hypothesis, right? To validate their idea.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what if that's not true? What are you going to do? That's what I'm trying to say. And then you want to try to build a product that tests multiple hypotheses at the same time, not just one hypothesis at a time.
Yeah, because of that, I have 35 prompts to cover every almost every aspects. I have the many buttons, so I can give people all of this bunch of buttons, and then I can measure which buttons are more suitable for their needs, which one is better, which one more popular.
But this
or
is
something
still the
like
report. The product. The end goal is a report.
No,
right?
no. Report, it's only one feature, because I would like to have their, for example, a landing page generator or tweet series or Facebook ads generator. It's like set of tools. It's many
There we go.
tools. Yeah, but you can pick all of them, and you have your 100 pages PDF report where everything is combined. But of course, you can have you can use only one, like landing page generator or favicon generator, sitemap XML generator, something like that. You can use different tools, and I would like to send as many traffic as possible by using specific keywords to a specific tool. Like, I
But
don't
each
know,
tool has an interaction experience. Like this is the kind of thing. Like you're maybe then this is the Swiss knife thing, the 25 things, right? Like with your case, then maybe it's what are the 3-4 tools that you can build the interactions of and make it a delightful experience, delightful experience, that. And this is not a discussion based on. I'm just using your product as an example. I'm just saying, in general, the approach, with like Jared was asking, he was like, should you build one feature or should you build 25? And I'm like, the real answer is, yeah, 3 or 5, and flexible enough to hit multiple targets, not just one target, because you don't know who the market is in the product market fit equation, so you want to build something that is flexible enough that you can show to multiple markets and find, some interaction.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay.
Oh, amazing call. Absolutely amazing call.
Yeah. I'm hearing there are, like, from the two of you, right? The exchange is that, one tool you can hit 7 different segments, meaning that's from the marketing side, right? Like how we present that feature. Then what Zahid is saying, like that other complementary features would help retention. So what I'm hearing is there are features we build for growth, and there are features we build for retention, right? And when we are able to build like 3 to 5 features, we test out which one hits. That would be the growth, the front end feature that we're pushing out to the market. And then as they come in, they find there's a complementary suite of products that could kind of cover their almost every need. Like my budget tracker, for instance, it tracks budget, right? People want to track budget. Then as they track budget, maybe, hey, they want to save some money because they want to buy a new car. Then after they have this new car, they have excess money, they might want to think about investing to make their money grow. So am I hearing it correctly? Like it's
yes,
this all other features.
You expanded it, and there is, you called it growth, but I'm calling it acquisition is a more precise word. And when you think about acquisition, you always think about switching costs, right? Like what are they using right now, and what is so compelling about what I'm offering that is going to make them switch? And that's kind of what you need to be thinking about in the beginning in terms of launch and testing and all of that. Is how can I convince somebody who's already using some budget tracker to use my budget tracker? And that's going to be the core feature that differentiates you. And you think about it, okay, these are the different things. But to build on also what you're saying is that you're saying, hey, I'm also building this investing feature. and this car saving money for cars or big spending features. Those are also acquisition features that compete with other things, because you're saying that's how my thing is kind of differentiating. It's not retention. These are all three hypotheses. Is saving money for big purchases. I'm testing this hypothesis. Saving money to invest and like an investment coach, and then the budget tracking. Those are like the three hypotheses I'm testing, and the way you present those is through your app, which is personal finance. As opposed to somebody just saying, no, I'm not going to try out the savings. I'm not going to try out the investing. I'm just going to do the budgeting. And I'm saying, don't do that. Do all three. Test it out. Because maybe the investing thing works better than the other two. Or maybe the saving money for big purchases, that's the better use case. You know what I mean? But the retention part, to kind of fill that whatever gap you created, you retain people with the experience and the interaction and the stability and the dependability and all of that, the beauty of the app. Like, that's how you retain people. The service, all of that is the retention features. It's so those are the three we talked about. Those are your acquisition features. And then the retention features is how you execute those three features. So with the savings, you got a beautiful visualization. You can save whatever the image of what you want to buy, and like that interaction, that's how you retain people. And then additionally, listening to your customers, that's also how you retain people. They're gonna be like, hey, but can you do this? Boom, 2 weeks later or a week later, hey, you said this, we have a new feature. Amazing. And that's how you retain the people you acquire.
And in terms of the acquisition side of things, right? Like, we can create an app out of features, right? But should we create, I'm thinking along the line, like, I want to create something that is inherently very, if I want to advertise on TikTok, it should be very TikTok worthy sharing, bright colors and whatnot, right? Other than some boring ass B2B looking app. Likewise, if I want to do a B2B app, marketing channel would be LinkedIn or Twitter. It should be more comprehensive, more pro looking than cartoonish, teenage looking. Am I right to say that? I should think about which platform I'm trying to advertise to, then my UI.
Both, yeah, no, 100%. You should be thinking about this even with B2B and everything. Is the presentation of your features is extremely important, and you have to make them extremely digestible to your target market and entertaining. So like you're saying, maybe a B2B, you're targeting the higher end people, sophisticated, that appreciate good animation, good design. So you want to think about how to present your features in a beautifully animated design, just juicy as hell situation, and you can get it in 5 seconds. Same thing if you're targeting younger people, that might connect more with lifestyle, hey, look, or, and it's a small thing, like usage of the app, and that sells more like, TikTok style. So definitely you want to consider all these factors. It's one of the main puzzles to think about. Like, when you're building a feature, you don't think about these things, but then when you start, hey, I need to sell this, you got to think about the angle of quickest way to make them imagine ownership, and that imagination should excite them, right? Like, when they imagine owning this, they're like, hey, amazing. Like, you did that great with the testimonial. You're like, oh, I had to use it for 5 months, but 5 months in, I'm feeling great. I feel like I saved a lot of money. That little story creates this imagination of ownership. Like, hey, if I download this and in 5 months, my financial situation might be better. You can tell that story in different ways. You can tell it in testimonial, you can tell it in like a video, you can tell it in like an image of the bank account balance before and after. There's so many ways of telling that story, but there is definitely some thought you have to invest before launching on how you're going to present this and how many different ways you can help them imagine ownership. Which,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, it is nice.
I like this background you're sitting against.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it
Very
looks like
shy.
a beautiful building.
Yeah. Zaid, where are you based out of?
I live in Florida, Orlando.
Oh, how's the? Did you get affected by the hurricane or?
Yeah, we got hit by the hurricane, but the house is good. We stayed at a hotel,
Okay,
so everything is good. I appreciate you asking.
yeah, like whoa, seems intense, that hurricane.
Yeah, it is. It was loud too. The windows were whistling.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. Some people died here too. Like, because like things fall, like trees start falling and all of that. You gotta store your car properly and all of that.
Yeah.
But anyways, guys, always a pleasure.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next week.
Yes. Thanks, guys.
Have a good weekend, guys.
You too.
See you later.
Bye.
Appreciate you guys.